Vice Principal, Asansol Girls College, Asansol, esteemed speakers, professors, scholars, students, and all participants to today's humble endeavor. I now request Dr. Omolindu Shamanto to kindly take over.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Am I visible?
No.
Not yet.
Okay, Dr. Bulu Maharana is a professor and head of department, PG department LIS in Sambalpur University, Odisha. He is an MA in economics and he has completed BLIS, MLIS, MPhil and PhD from Sambalpur University of Odisha. He has also cleared UGC NET with JRF. He has published many research papers in different national and international journals of research. He presented many research papers in national and international conferences. He supervised many MPhil dissertations and PhD theses in LIS. He acted as a resource person in different national and state level workshops and seminars. Besides his academic assignments, he is the Deputy Director of UGC HRDC of Sambalpur University. He is a member and chairman of different boards and committees of Sambalpur University. He is a member of Board of Studies in different universities of India. He acted as an interviewer in different boards for appointment of teachers. His area of interest is information technology, library automation, and information storage and retrieval. Now, sir, I invite you to deliver your lecture to the eagerly waiting audience in today's webinar. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for a nice introduction. Good morning to the guests present here, all the participants participating in the workshop today. You work on creation, you workshop on citations, references, and research ethics. A two-day national workshop being organized by the BB College and Asansol Girls College. At the outset, I must congratulate the organizers. I congratulate the principal, the IQAC team, the director, and everyone who have taken this initiative for such a pertinent topic on a workshop on citations, references, and research ethics, which are now budget terms today in the academics, scholarly communication, learning and teaching activities. Basically, earlier we were not having any such policy, a national policy on research integrity, research ethics, plagiarism, and all those issues, which were actually was a big limitation so far as the teaching, learning, and research, particularly higher education, is concerned. But today we have well-set policies at the national level as well as at the institutional level. Many of the institutions now have their own policies. Having said this, I'd like to proceed forward with my topic today, that is combating plagiarism in education and research. We understand what plagiarism is by now because there has been a lot of initiatives that have been taken at our own local level, college level, and everywhere. Find such workshops, seminars, webinars, and all sorts of activities and orienting the academia to this particular issue is being carried out. So we are now to some extent been exposed to the terms, and we have an understanding of these issues. And today we will be talking about as to how we are going to actually minimize the incidence of plagiarism, dishonest practices, and unethical practices in our teaching and research. I'll share my PPT now. Is it visible? Is it visible? My PPT is visible?
Yes, sir, it's coming. Your screen is visible, not PPT yet. Your screen is coming. You have started
Okay.
sharing content, but your PPT has not yet come. You have to go to the PPT
Okay,
window.
then I'll open this. Okay. Desktop টা ଥିଲା না? হ্যাঁ? desktop উপরে গেল আছে। Yeah. Is it now visible?
Sir, the screen, but
No,
it's
sir.
Okay. Yeah.
is blank yet. Still blank, sir.
Yes,
But
yes,
you have
yes.
shared your screen. I think the internet is a bit slow. Therefore, for your side, it should come within some time. So try to share it once more, sir. Presenter.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Said that there are two ways of doing it. Yes. If you acknowledge me, if you attribute me, you can do it free of cost. And if you want to accredit your name, or you have to take the name, your name with it, then you'll have to pay for it. So the first kind of thing which was referring to is called violation of the first thing, that without the permission and without giving proper accreditation, proper acknowledgement and attribution to the author, is a form of plagiarism. There are various types of plagiarism that we can find. There are direct plagiarism, where that someone else's work is taken as it is without attribution, without quotation marks, and put it and pretends to be the original work of the author. That is a direct kind of plagiarism. Mosaic plagiarism, that borrowed without using quotation marks or find synonyms, and a little bit of change and paraphrasing is done, and mostly the same text is presented. The general structure remains the same. Then it is a kind of mosaic plagiarism. Then self-plagiarism, which is now UGC has released its guidelines on self-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism occurs when a student submits his or her own previous work. Many a times we find that people take it that I can use my work as many times as I want, but that is not permissible. That is a self-plagiarism. You cannot use the same text, same or writing again for various purposes. So using your own previous work or mixes part of the previous work is also a kind of plagiarism known as self-plagiarism. Then accidental plagiarism, which to cite their sources or misquotes their sources, or maybe, or unintentionally paraphrases. So this is an accidental plagiarism. Sometimes they forget to accredit or acknowledge the source from where we have taken this. So this may lead to the accidental plagiarism. Global plagiarisms, the work is produced as it is 100% just by changing the name of the author. Name of the creator is a global plagiarism. Verbatim plagiarism, a part of the work is produced as it is, Incorrect citation is a type of plagiarism. If you are citing a wrong source, or you are citing wrongly with some elements representing wrongly, then it is also incorrect citation leading to plagiarism. So the plagiarism has been acute, and the issue has been so important and such a bold issue because developments of the technology. Because earlier it was not so easy to reproduce a work. So earlier, the researchers who were in the need of referring to multiple sources of information for literature review, for collecting the data for writing papers, for summarizing the works, for guiding the methodology that will follow in their research. They were um, they were referring to the previous research which has already been published. So in that case, the only thing they could do is they notebooks, which is very difficult. So we can note down everything in a source. It's difficult to reproduce and copy. Then came the Xerox, actually where we can take a image of that and reproduce another copy of that as it is. And gradually there is a development, and the development in this field was in peak in the end part of 1990s, and when the internet came into being, and the devices attached to internet were very fast in copying through various input mediums, including the scanners, digital photo, digital cameras, even the handheld devices like the pen scanners and all those things that we can scan it immediately and capture the data. So that created the issue even more prominent. But the plagiarism is not the same in all cultures. Sometimes we feel that plagiarism, this kind of reproducing something, reproducing a text, reproducing a piece of text, reproducing a quotation, reproducing a sloka, reproducing something of this nature is not plagiarism. It is not an act of dishonesty. That is because of the culture that we have been groomed of. Like we have seen that in schools, if you don't remember the exact wording in the textbook, that your teacher is not going to give you full marks, because they say that you have not used the words used in the textbook, you have used your own, so that is why 2 marks are deducted. So this is how actually we developed into a culture that we started accepting something, accepting copying from a source is not a crime, or not something which is can be termed as an act of dishonesty. But in many other countries, they have made this the practice of copying and plagiarism and taking texts and other intellectual resources without attribution is to be an act of academic dishonesty. Many people think that the universal knowledge which is shared by the community is to be the property of the community. So therefore a single individual cannot be given or cannot be given credit for that. So that is what the feeling of in some of the part of the world, some of the countries. Likewise, memorizing what I said, memorizing and reproducing the same thing is not an act of dishonesty. That is what we believe. Likewise, uh, there is another philosophy of banking model of education where it says that whatever the teacher says is a core of knowledge. That is what you need to believe, and that is what you need to remember, and that is what you need to disseminate. You cannot create your own. That is what some other cultures believe it. So, why is plagiarism? We don't all know that plagiarism because of multiple reasons. People have their own reason, and they end up with some kind of a plagiarism act. And but most important reasons are the pressure to succeed. We are in a competitive world, and we try to go ahead of our competitors, and for that we need a shortcut sometimes, and that is end up with plagiarism. Then the time limitation, the deadlines, will have to meet the deadlines. If you're not working hard, or if you're failing to make a plan out so that you can meet the deadlines, then you have always a pressure of meeting the deadlines, and because of that, end up with some shortcut method, and this plagiarism happens. Then fear of losing status. People who the big positions, they are expected to perform at a very higher level, and that is because of the pressure of the losing their status. Sometimes it is found that they end up with uh, then when you find that other people are doing it, why don't we do it? So that also kind of we indulge in. Then lack of understanding. So where unintentional plagiarism happens, if you do not understand. As I said, we are in a practice that we get the information from the internet and we are reproducing it. What is the harm in it? Some people standing up the problem, these issues. Then lack of institutional policy. In many cases, we find even today, many of the institutions, they don't have developed their own policy relating to academics, and research. So that is how we also sometimes face the problem. The most common types of plugins that we find. The clone, it's only copy and paste. Simply Control C and Control V. Take from one place and paste it as it is. We create a replica of someone else's words. Similarly, find and replace happened in the 3 years. You might have seen that the hero comes and changes make a change of a particular word there. So likewise, we can change the words and which was originally there, and we can give a word of our own. So there we're making it change and take. Remixing, piecing together significant portions of multiple sources and presenting as it is our own original idea. Recycling is reusing majority of own previous work again and again. Sometimes some people change the title, some 1 or 2 words of the title, but the body text remains the same, or they make some fabricating changes, but the core is the same. So it is right process. Then hybrid kind of plagiarism, where it combines cited sources as well as some uncited content mixed together. Massives are there, where multiple sources with little or no attempt to combine them, just by taking and putting and making a incoherent manner together. Then we have 404 errors using citations that do not exist anywhere. We give a link, and if somebody clicks on there and there is no such page is available. Aggregators. Aggregating is also a kind of plagiarism, where using proper citations throughout one's work but offering little or no original content is an aggregation. Retweeting, which includes the correct citation but relies heavily on another's wording. So this is when everything is taken from the other sources and we are not having anything of our own. So that is also a kind of. We have seen situations like a ghost authorship, the authors are not available, ghost authorship. Academic ghost writing, they're seen there. You might have seen that there are many such fake agencies are there who are writing the students' assignments, including their master level dissertations and PhD thesis and all that, on behalf of the scholar. So somebody else is writing. So here his name is not reflected. He is a ghostwriter. So similarly, the professional ghostwriting also happens when people, like big people or celebrities, are bringing out their own biographies. They take the help of uh, good writers, good common in language and writing skills, and they used to write the biographies for them, but their name is not mentioned in the biography. So they're the ghostwriters. Uh, Likewise, there are conflict of interest is there when you are writing that because of some my institution, if there is some institution, a positive or negative way it is influenced, then there is a conflict of interest. Then acknowledgements of fund where we have taken the ideas, where we have taken the guidelines for doing that research and writing papers. The acknowledgement is very important. And the plagiarism of ideas, what basically nowadays we are talking about the plagiarism of words, text, but the ideas also could be plagiarized. So the plagiarism of ideas is also is very important. But not everything is a unlawful practice. The lawful practices are quoting, paraphrasing, and summarization. Particularly when you are engaged in the research in social sciences, humanities, the most of the thing that you are engaged in is descriptive research. So in descriptive research, we consult various sources, assimilate them, analyze them into, and then find, and then we summarize the whole thing, take the quotations which are important, explain the quotations like that, explain the text which has been given by the original author somewhere. So the quoting, paraphrasing, and summarization is an integral part of the whole research process. But it becomes unlawful. It's lawful doing quoting and paraphrasing and summarizing, but it becomes unlawful when we violate the rules. So any verbatim text, if you are taking from another source, it must enclosed in quotation marks and be accompanied by a citation to indicate some reason. This is a good practice. It is accepted. This is the this is a proper quoting. You quote it by double inverted quotes and then give the citation where you have taken this one. But sometimes copying portions of the text, one or more sources, and we never give credit to author nor enclose about marks. So it is presented as if it is a part of our own creation. So then it becomes unlawful and it leads to plagiarism. So similarly, paraphrasing. So what do you mean by paraphrasing? So many of our students and many people that they think that just by changing some words and right click on there and see the synonyms in the word itself and replace a synonym for the word which is there, it solves the purpose and you are in a good track of doing paraphrasing. It's not. So paraphrasing, we are doing paraphrasing and summarization, and it not only mandatory to use your own words, but also to use your own syntactical. So many a time we keep this the structure of this sentences intact and change the words. So this is not a proper paraphrasing, and this can be identified by a the ism detection. So the paraphrasing of something must always identify the source of our information. So it has to be by the source taken with proper style. Many times we confuse between these two words, plagiarism and copyright infringement. Copyright infringement, I was given an example that uh, the poet said, the Roman poet said that if you want to use my work, then you need to get my permission, and you have to pay for me, pay for that, and you can use it. So copyright is something which is using someone else's work without obtaining their permission is copyright infringement. If you are obtaining their permission and using, then it is the copyright is not violated. So, uh, copyright is the right of the author, the original creator, of his intellectual work. So when you are reproducing part of the whole thing, you are using it commercial or non-commercial purposes, accepting what is known as the fair use, then you must have to obtain the permission if it's copyrighted. But plagiarism is something which we are using the text, you are using the somebody else's work without attribution, without acknowledgement, and you are using it as it is. If it is your own, then it is plagiarism. Do I need to cite everything? Students ask. Yes, we need to cite everything except our own words or common knowledge. Common knowledge that we understand, that which is commonly in practice. If you say the sun rises in the east, so you need not have to cite somebody. It is commonly used, and UGC has very categorically defined in the writing of the thesis at master and PhD level and MPhil and PhD level, what are the common knowledge? It has been categorically defined. And for those like formulas, for formulas are the common knowledge, there you need not have to cite anybody. So common knowledge need not be cited, and your own words need not be cited, but rest of the things you need to cite it, even though you quote it and paraphrase it. Okay, the technology has given us the opportunity. Technology has enabled us to find. Earlier, it was not possible to find. It was not possible even to copy, and similarly, it is not possible to even to detect it. But today, it is like the technology has given the plagiarism detection software. It's like a two-edged sword, a sword having edges both the sides. So you can. It is very easy to actually copy and paste Control C and V and pick this text from various sources. And similarly, it is also easy to detect the cases of unlawful copying. So it is a two-edged sword, what we can say. So there are a number of such tools are available freely online. The students who are working on small projects and they basically depend on the online sources for consultation, they can use it. Uh, um, and any of them, they for their purpose. At least they be guided with the norms of the text copying and plagiarism, so that they'll be keep on practicing it. Uh, and there are many paid softwares also there. In our country, we have these two plagiarism detection softwares. We have Turnitin, we have Urkund, and many people are using Turnitin. And Urkund is given access through the InflipNet to all the universities and affiliated colleges in India. So any PDS you talk about the plagiarism detection software, they are based on some principles, some common principles. Like what they do is they make a comparison of the text that you have written or the text that you are placing it for a comparison with the database they maintain of all published literature. So it depends upon the size of the data they have already in their corpus to match with. So that actually gives the ranking of these PDS tools. So there they make a comparison of your text with the text which are already available in their corpus database. So the text to text matching, document to document matching, then it creates reports on the basis of the matching. What is the similarity index that you have? Then the reports can be downloaded. You can share the document. You can make grammar checks in many of the plagiarism detection tools. You find the grammar check facilities also there. Then you can exclude non-plagiarism matches. Many a times you find that which are very common, like the name of the universities. There are some common texts like acknowledging somebody, something like that, which you think they're common. Then they even though then it shows that it is there is some similar contents are available. Then you can exclude, then identify sources of similarity, where from it has come. Include institutional policies into it by customizing the program as per your policy of the institute. Then it can integrate the learning management system so that the whole thing work together. The teachers they give assignments to students, students submit their assignments. So and while submission, it automatically takes the check and then produces the report, and all those things happen in the LMS is integrated. Then integrates a feedback mechanism. Once it is submitted, the teacher can give his own remarks to it and can feedback and corrections to be made, and all those things they can incorporate and can send it back to the scholar, the students. Then maintain confidentiality. Here it maintains the confidentiality. It cannot be made public unless and until finally agreed to. So this is an example. This is how the report looks like. It gives you what is the percentage of the similarity of your work with the uh, available corpus of the system, and it shows the sources from where it has come. Like 12% from internal sources, 9% publications, and 10% student papers we have, which have deposited in the same institute or other institutes. Now coming over to our own country, the what are the policies that we have until 2018? We are not having a written policy of this purpose, and in July 2018, the Universities Grants Commission introduced a policy of academic integrity as promotion of academic integrity and prevention of plagiarism in higher educational institutions, regulations 2018. So this is basically meant for the master research level students who are submitting their academic works in the form of theses, dissertations, and publication of research papers, chapters in books, etc. So for them, this is applicable. Objectives of UGC introducing such policy is to create awareness. The first thing is that we need to create awareness the students. Even postgraduate students now, many of them are not aware about the fact that what is plagiarism, how we end up with Plagiarism Act. They are not having any awareness about. So the first thing is, the first objective is to make the students, teaching faculty, and everyone who is associated with the academic discourse is need to be aware about. And then prevention of plagiarism in academic writing, and to establish systems uh, uh, through which we can facilitate responsible academic conduct, and to establish systems to detect plagiarism. So this is the four basic objectives for which UGC actually proposed this regulation. Uh, There are guidelines in the UGC Act that every higher education institution shall instruct the students, its faculty members, researchers, and staff about proper attribution, how it can be properly attributed, taking proper citation styles and the required elements in citation. Uh, so, um, and HEIs also conduct sensitization seminars, awareness programs like this. Then inclusive, so which is very important part of. So when there is a component of research is included at the master level, and MPhil level and PhD is a full so in that case the curriculum itself need to have the plagiarism issues, what is the publication ethics, research ethics, and plagiarism detection tools, idea about plagiarism detection tools, and all those things should be included in the curriculum itself. So the students would learn systematically about this. And how to curb the plagiarism, how to reduce and how to do away with the plagiarism in higher education institution, from teaching, from education research. Uh, the HEIs should declare and implement a system like that. Nowadays, it is mandatory uh, for the institutions to have the plagiarism detection tools, either one that for your policy, that you will have to use a plagiarism detection tool. You will have to inform, the institution informs everyone in the community that we have this software in place, and anybody depositing their academic work of any form should check for their similarity report. Then the mechanisms are made accessible to all engaged in the research work. So it is not like it is. So when in the many of the universities, only few people are given access to these tools. So the students are not given. So therefore, what happens is, when a full thesis is ready of 300 350 pages, then the student comes with the whole thesis to his uh, supervisor and says, ask him, requests him for the mechanism test, and if there is anything beyond the limit similarity comes, then this becomes panic, because already you are going to meet the last date. So if you start in doing it, checking it, if you have access to student access is given, then from the beginning itself, the students will start checking it. So therefore, the end, we need not have to worry about. Then every student at thesis and dissertation should submit an undertaking writing that the content is free from plagiarism. Then every institution has to develop a policy on plagiarism of their own. So many autonomous institutions in the country, they have their own plagiarism policy, but the universities and the colleges under affiliated to universities and under the control of UGC are following the UGC policy for that purpose. Each supervisor shall have to submit a certificate, and the thesis, soon after it is awarded, has to be submitted to the Inflipt repository of South Ganga repository of thesis, and also institutions can create their own institutional repository of thesis. Many of the institutions are doing it. At the local level, they have their own thesis repositories. There also one can deposit it. What is not plagiarism? Plagiarism excludes the quoted words reproduced with all necessary permission, with double quotes and proper attribution, as I said. Then this is as per the UGC norms. All references, bibliographies, table of content, preface, and acknowledgement. These are also, bibliography is excluded, table of content, acknowledgement, and preface, and the references. This has to be excluded. So by default, we'll have to actually make a default setting where while you are using the plagiarism detection software, then according to the policy that we follow from UGC. All generic terms, laws, standard symbols, and standard equations are also excluded from this plagiarism. Similarity. Even if there is similarity, it can be excluded. It is not a case of plagiarism. Then the common knowledge or common or words consecutively occurring less than 14 words. So if there are more than 14 words, consecutive occurrence of words, then it's a case of plagiarism. It is expected that each research scholar or student carries out the research should have original ideas, which shall include the abstract, summary, hypothesis, observation, results, conclusions, and recommendations uh, uh, of his own research, which are actually the display the originality of the research that the scholar has taken. These are the different levels of plagiarism as per the guidelines of UGC 2018. There are four levels of plagiarism which has been indicated: level 1, 2, and 3. Level 0 is the level where we are expected to operate. That is, the similarity level should be up to 10%. So if it is 10 or less than 10, there is no penalty, whether it is your thesis or it is academic research. Then again, the level 1, it is from 40%, more than 10 and 40, less than 40%. So here the penalty is a revised submission within 6 months. The scholar is asked to submit it again in 6 months. And in case of research publications, the manuscript to withdraw if it is more than 10%. Then level 2 is 40 to 60%. The scholar is debarred revised submission for 1 year. Only after 1 year he can resubmit it. And for research publications, the manuscripts are withdrawn, and the person concerned is denied 1 annual increment. If he is a supervisor, he is not allowed to supervise research work for 2 years. Then the level 3, which is even more serious in nature, which is above 60%. The registration, then the manuscript, in case of the publication, withdrawn, denied 2 successive annual increments in the institute, and he is not allowed to supervise the research work for 3 years. So these are the penalty provisions that we have. Then each, in order to execute the provisions laid down in the UGC regulation on plagiarism, the different bodies has to be constituted at the institution. Level, there should be a DAIP or Departmental Academic Integrity panel, and then the above that there will be an institutional academic integrity panel constituted of the dean or the vice chancellor or anybody, a senior professor as the chairman, and 1 member from other higher education institute, and 1 person who is having good knowledge in the plagiarism detection software, and another senior professor. 4 people constitute the institutional academic integrity panel, and 3 persons. Departmental head is the chairman, and other 2 people in the same way is constitute the departmental academic integrity panel. Then the vice chancellor is at the top of it, and the governing body, whether it is syndicate or senate, whatever it is. So the whole process is like that, and if anything is reported, then it proceeds from the next departmental academic integrity panel to the top authorities in this manner. Okay, so then self-plagiarism in the original guideline, which was published in, which was implemented in 2018, there is no mention of self-plagiarism in the UGC Act. So later it was added in 20th April 2020. This self-plagiarism Act was introduced, and where this self-plagiarism is terminated as a term, something which uh, in a part or whole, reduction in a part or whole of one's own previously published work without adequate citation. Even if it is my own work, I cannot reproduce it again without citing the earlier one. So it is known as text recycling, which is also a self-plagiarism. So, test recycling or self-plagiarism. What is the benefit of that? The benefit that is that a person claims to have multiple number of papers with the same text just by pasting something and changing the title here and there, almost the core part remaining the same. So thereby taking academic advantage, academic benefit. So keeping in view of that, these provisions have been introduced that without citation you cannot use your own publications even. Then without full citation, use a large number of publications you cannot have. On reusing data or reused in published work is not into small sections, publishing without due and full citation to the earlier allowed. Then paraphrasing one's own previous they included, for example, metrics. So these are the provisions of self-plagiarism which has been introduced recently. Uh, then what are the responsibilities of the institution? There are a lot of responsibility the institution has. Like the UGC recommendation is to to include academic integrity as a part of the curriculum. Students who are studying research methodology, it has to be a part of the research methodology course. Academic integrity, they should know what is academic honesty and dishonest, and what are the provisions of it. If there is any violation, they should know, and what are the good ways to do research. Then compulsory course modules at the master research level has to be there. Then orientation refresher courses for teachers to orient them regarding these issues, which I believe in most of the HRCs in the country, this has become a mandatory module for teachers training. Now, plagiarism detection tools, the teachers need to be trained about how they will use it, generate the report, create the scholar IDs, and submit papers and thesis. Then modern technologies for plagiarism detection. There are many such technologies are available, like open source tools, open softwares are available. International researchers registry systems where you can actually, there are provisions like you can create a ORC and other such registrations where you can register yourself. And likewise, the institution need to develop plagiarism policies, um, depositing the thesis into the open like Sodhganga e-repository, and also having the institutional repository at the institution level. So these are some of the responsibilities of the higher education institutions to curb the plagiarism cases. Uh, Plagiarism. How to prevent? Because prevention is better than cure. So we can talk to our students in the classroom or about plagiarism, can show them examples and what do we expect as a teacher to do? So letting them know what is happening and how they can develop their personal thought and convert it to writing. All those things that you have to actually in conversation with the students, we can develop a belief system in them and a confidence into them. Then ask the students to keep the copies of their references. If they are submitting you an assignment and giving your references and all those things and the reference aids, then ask them to sometimes to cross check, ask them to give the reference material also from here they have, so that you will find that whether they are really taken the things from there or they are misquoting or what they are doing it. Then break down larger projects into micro assignments. Sometimes we are giving a assignment which is very big, as I said. So we can divide into chapters, we can divide into modules and break down into small units, so that it will convenient, it will be easier for the students to write and following the mandates of this fair practices, and also you can, as a teacher, can have a control over it and check it from time to time. Asking students to submit an outline draft for data draft X, so he will provide you. It is not that he will write down everything, and so initially he will submit an outline and a rough draft, so that also guides to avoid the like. Then ask them to use the recent sources, because recent sources are not available in the publishers sites or somewhere. Then a specific number of sources to be used. You ask them to use this source only, so that while checking it, it will be easier for you to check whether he has reproduced it or um, uh, uh, he has given his own ideas and own writing. Don't assign the same project every year. If the same projects are assigned every year, then there will be a tendency for reproducing the same work just by changing the name. So submit their assignments to the repository. That also will reduce it, because once they know that their assignment is going to be submitted on an online platform, so they will be careful and warn them from time to time harsh punishments, um, like their rejections of submission and all that, so that they will be careful. Then creative words, not repetitive. Assign them creative words. So nowadays you might have seen that many of the universities are conducting online examination. So in the online examination, you are asked a question, you supply the question in online mode, either through the email or any other thing. So and the students need to write their answers at home. So and in that case they are consulting various sources. So in that case we are actually be careful about giving them questions, analytical questions, which they cannot actually copy verbatims from the text and write the answer. So likewise, you give such kind of questions where there are chances of copying is less. Appropriate citation guides, we have to train them which are the appropriate, like APA, MLA, or many other citation styles are there. Then use technology in writing sharing. There are wonderful technologies where you can write and share simultaneously. Like your student is writing something and asks him to write using this Google Doc platform. So if he's doing it, then he can share even online. You can check what he is doing from a day-to-day basis, even hour-to-hour basis. So you can have a control, and you can actually see that that he's adding his own original text to it. So I think this much I wanted actually to discuss. So my basic purpose of how we need to be careful at the higher education institutions to reduce the incidences of plagiarism, so that we can practice the honest practices in teaching and research. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, very much, sir. It was a really
Thank you.
very enlightening talk today, sir, from you. And about plagiarism, as it was expected, sir, there are several questions which are coming over here. The
Yeah,
first
sure.
one
I'll
is,
be happy to.
yeah, the first one is from Dr. Shungita Lahiri. She's asking, under what conditions can an author use some part of her previous published research article in her next research articles? This is the first question, sir.
Yeah. Actually, when you have a specialization or as a faculty or as a researcher, when you are working on a very micro subject, then it is very likely that your research is basically on the same theme and same topic. So there is every possibility that your earlier research need to be reflected, or there is some link of your earlier research, whether it may be the methodology that you have followed, the data that previously you have used, or something like that. You will also be using in your subsequent research. So there is very likely, because if you are working in a micro subject, so in that case there is possibility of. And another thing is that when the research scholars are there, and as per the UGC guideline, the research scholar has to have two journal publications prior to his submission of the thesis. So prior to his submission of the thesis, he already has two publications. So in that case, also when going for another publication, then there is possibility that he will be using his already published works into the subsequent work. So that could be a possibility there. Thank you. I think.
Yes, sir. There's one more question. There's another question from Dr. Shabir Pandey, and
Okay.
it's an interesting question. So
Yeah.
his question is that, for example, he has written a publication where he has taken a reference or a picture or something from an article which has been then later retracted. Would that
Mhm.
be constituted as plagiarism?
Uh, no, retracted is, if it is retracted, then they found it. The picture has been reproduced.
Okay.
It has been taken from some other source and it has been reproduced without the acknowledgement. So, of course, this is a case of plagiarism. Whether we reproduce the text or a picture or a graph or a table, uh, it is a case of plagiarism.
Sir, Dr. Pandey also has got the second part of his question is, for example, if you there's a picture in a particular book, and if you draw that picture independently yourself, it would be plagiarism without citing that author, of course. Say, for example, it's a picture of a dog, and you
Mhm.
draw another picture of a dog. Will that?
See, the acts of plagiarism actually is not universal in its implication. Actually, we follow our own laid guidelines for that purpose. For example, my institute might have a guideline for the research to be conducted at my institute, and UGC as a body of academic body of the country has released the guidelines. But in so we follow the UGC guidelines for that purpose. But UGC guidelines is silent about the reproduction of the graphs and pictures. Uh, but it is a good practice. As a good practice, it is always advisable that if you are drawing a picture, you are displaying your skill of drawing, but the idea that you have taken from some source, okay, how the dog looks like, and that idea appealed to you and you draw. So the skill is yours, but the idea you have borrowed it from somewhere, so it has to be cited as a good practice, even though you are not having at present you are not having any guideline for this picture reproduction.
So related to this question, I have a question. Say, for example,
Yes, sir.
I have made a publication and I have taken an information from a book. I've cited that book, but the book from which I've cited has taken information from another book. In that case, am I committing plagiarism?
No, no, no. You are not
I have
committing
not cited the
plagiarism,
original
but
book. I have not cited the original book. I've just cited the book which I've read.
in that case, we need to cite is as cited in, Okay,
Okay, okay,
if
okay.
X was a cited Y source, then we need to cite as X cited Y cited in X. Okay, so in
Okay.
that case, um,
Hello, sir. Are you there?
yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. Sir, there is some questions from the students also.
Mhm.
Reza Rafat Sir asks the question difference between citation, reference, and bibliography.
Citation.
Reference and bibliography. What is the difference between them?
So they are much similar terms. Citation is actually reference is something which we have referred in our work. Okay, usually you find it in the research papers at the end of these research papers that we have used, that you have taken a part of it, or you have taken the ideas from, you have taken some text, you quoted some text. So if you have used some source, then you have to give the citation, and that citation is known as a reference. And bibliography is something that we usually append at the end of a book or the thesis. At the end, it is exhaustive list of all those sources which we may have used, or may not have used directly for our purpose for further reading. If you are appending such a list, then it is called a bibliography. And citation is used as a technical thing. Citation is something, uh, if my if somebody's X work has been used by Y and has given under reference of his publication, then X is cited by Y. So that is what we say. And the citation counts for determining the research impact of the journals and the individual researchers. So there is no much kind of this thing. So basically, these are the differences in meaning between these three: references, citations, and bibliography. I think I'm clear. Mhm.
Yes, sir, you're clear, sir. Last one question from a student,
Okay,
Abbas
sir.
Tiwari.
Yeah.
His question is, he writes, when I read a book
Yeah.
or article and write in my paper, change some words, is this countable as plagiarism?
Flip. What is that? What he does when he is writing? I didn't get it, sir. Sorry.
Okay, see, he said when he reads a book or article, and perhaps he
Okay.
uses this information in his paper, and what he does is that he
Okay.
changes some words, and maybe he doesn't
Uh,
refer to this person. He just changes the words. Is that plagiarism? He's
okay.
asking.
Yes, yes, that's what I was saying actually in my presentation. This is something called paraphrasing. Okay, when we read from a given source and write in our own way, write in our own way. Own way doesn't mean that changing the words, its synonyms. Changing synonyms is not in my own way. When we come out of the theater and your friend asks you, tell me how was the film? then you don't reproduce all those dialogues deliveries in the film. Rather, you use your own terms and terminology, your own word, you express it. So in the similar way, if there is a written text somewhere and I want to write it in my own way, then I have to be producing in my own idea, actually in my own way, changing both the semantics and syntax. Changing the words will not work actually. Just by changing the words will not, it will be amounting to plagiarism.
Sir, sir, there is also one more question. It's not a
Yes.
question exactly. There are several questions, but one permission from you, from our mathematics
Yes.
professor, Shuati Sharkar,
Mhm.
and other participants, whether if you give us the permission to share your email IDs with them, they have several questions to ask you. If you give us the permission, sir.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
okay, sir. Thank you very
My
much.
email IDs are available.
Thank you, sir, very
Thank you.
much. It was a really very enlightening
Thank
talk, and sort of we learned so many things from him. Right from even if you could notice, there were certain free plagiarism checker sites like Duplicate Checker and several other sites. These links, all this will remain in YouTube, and you can consult wherever you want. The same link remains in
thank you.
YouTube. And thank you, sir,
Thank you.
very,
Thank you. Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
And now, Omrita, may I request Omrita to introduce, or rather, this person needs no introduction to start to introduce Dr. Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay. Omrita, are you there? Or suppose maybe for some technical reasons, we are unable to get Omrita on the internet connection. So, Doctor, I would like to introduce our speaker, Dr. Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay. There are very few words to introduce him because he has been introduced last day. You people have listened to his talk. So he would like to continue his talk, and there, of course, will be some question answer session here. So, sir, please, could you could start your presentation, sir?
Okay, I hope you are getting my voice.
Yes, sir.
Someone please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I'm
Yes,
audible.
sir. Yes, sir.
So now the first thing we teachers are now somehow somehow like that orchestra party now. Now we are checking AV first, okay, before communicating any kind of knowledge. Anyway. I was listening to the. I'm getting some noise from your end. Please stop that. Now, and you please report if I am not clear at any part of my speech, so that I can again repeat that. So I was listening to the question and session, some of the very interesting questions raised, and let me start with the with those questions which I think that I can add some additional points to this, and these are actually very important point raised by a few colleagues from your college. First question is that the retraction related question. You see here in case of Indian and regulations related to academic integrity is unfortunately not a complete one. Now, if we go through the retractionwatchdatabase.com, I am going to show you, they have pointed out 90 plus reasons against which a paper can get retracted. So all the papers which have been retracted from, published from India and have been retracted, that we have collected the reasons, and you will be amazing to know that one third of the papers only got retracted due to plagiarism. So two third of the papers, the majority of the papers are actually have been retracted due to different other reasons, and we Indian academia simply
Hello, sir. You are not audible, sir. Hello. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir, you are not audible.
we
There is
simply
some
do
issues
not
with
know
some issues with the mic.
uh, that maybe. Now, is it clear now? Hello, I have
Yes,
reset.
sir. It's clear.
Yes, sir, it's
It's clear,
clear.
sir.
Okay. It's clear, sir. So what I was talking about retraction, you see, I am going to share with you some of the shocking facts of things related with Indian academia. So I am sharing my slide first. Although this is not directly related to my area of talk, but still I think that we should know this particular issues. So please someone see my.
Yes, sir. We can see it, sir.
Yes, sir.
But your slides have not yet come, sir.
But
But your
these
screen
are
has
not
been
yet
shared, sir.
analyzed. Your screen is shared. It will take seconds.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. It should come soon, sir.
It should come soon, sir.
It has come, sir.
Me, please. Hello, it came, or should I try again?
Sir, it's
Oh,
visible,
it's
sir.
visible, sir. Okay, it's visible.
It's visible.
Only talked about it that in Indian higher academic situation we never have given due importance to other factors related to academic integrity. If you go through this regulations of UGC published in 2018 July 2018 rather, so you see most of the points are actually rotating around the plagiarism. Tried to inculcate the values related to academic integrity inside the mind of our students and researchers. That is one of the lacuna. Now, the second point is that if you go through this, section 12 of this particular, regulation, you see this basically trying to terrorizing the students instead of building a value system, instead of building a feeling related, are simply terrorizing our students. Please mute from your end. I'm getting some noise. Okay, so instead of giving or inculcating the values, we are basically terrorizing our students. And here you see whole levels of penalty. Level 0 up to 10%, there is no penalty. But what is the base of this 10%? If you are 11%, you are liable to punish. So what is the research base for this 10% cut? A rule of thumb technique. Now again, as I pointed out, that things we are doing basically to terrorizing getting values. Now what is happening with this particular thing, that we are actually forgetting that academic integrity is not all about plagiarism. actually, apart from or in addition to plagiarism. Now, how can you know that how many other factors are related to academic integrity? You know, again, you know the example of Bell's list. Similarly, two gentlemen came forward to prepare a database retracted paper, and here you can see this retraction watch. Basically, the database you can created one appendix. This is fully free, available free of cost. You can. We simply are not aware of it. That's why we do not know that this kind of resources are available. And amazingly, they have consolidated 90 plus reasons that can lead to retraction of a research paper. So nowadays, retraction is equal important issue, similar to the plagiarism. So we need to more emphasis on the different other factors apart from the plagiarism, because for the last 4-5 years we actually able to build an awareness amongst our researcher that how to combat with plagiarism. But this particular point of issues we simply do not talk. So 90 plus reasons are there, and we studied all 90 plus reasons under different categories, all even alphabetically. You can see author unresponsive, breach of policy by the civil proceedings, and many other, conflict of interest, everything. So suppose I am writing a research paper, working in a tobacco, so that kind of conflict of interest is also there, that I am promoting my own company's business policy on the basis of my research findings. So that kind of things are also associated with this retractionwatch.com. And amazingly, of these 90 plus reasons, only 4 are actually related to plagiarism. What are these 4 factors related to plagiarism? Plagiarism of article, plagiarism of data, plagiarism of image, as Professor Maharana was talking about, and plagiarism of text. So of 90 plus factors, only 4 are actually related to plagiarism. But in Indian higher education system, 100% of our focus actually goes to the plagiarism only. So that's a fallacy. In fact, that's in fact part of the policymakers in higher education. That is my personal view, although. Now we did a very simple experiment with this retractionwatch.com. We search this particular database. The database is retractiondatabase.org. You can have retractionwatch.com. We selected country as an India. You can see this red India as a country. Then we selected that what happened during the last 10 years, January to 31st December 2019. So what happened in the last 10 years? How many papers have been retracted that are actually originated from India? The result is amazing. 1064 number of papers originated from India. So you can see more than 100 plus papers per annum. So that is a significant rate of retraction if we compare this data with the other developing countries. So 1000 plus paper published in India have been retracted per annum, and 1064 in total in the last 10 years. So why this is happening? If we again analyze the reasons and causes, you will be amazed to know that only 1/3 of this paper actually retracted due to plagiarism. So in the next search, what we did, we kept all the earlier factors like country as India, then time period is last 10 years. Then we added that you just identify the paper which have been retracted due to the 4 factors: plagiarism, data, image. So you see here only 310 number papers out of 6 number of papers originated from India have been retracted for plagiarism during the last 10 years. So only 1/3 of the paper roughly have been retracted due to plagiarism. 2/3 of the paper, majority of the paper have been retracted for many other reasons. And our academia, our researcher simply do not know that this kind of factors can also lead to retraction. So we need to switch our focus plagiarism and other kind of thing into the retraction, because retraction is a much more serious, issues. We need to know lot many, legalities, lot many other, practical things. Say for example, you have given a methodology. So this is the protocol, and by following this particular protocol, you can conduct this experiment to get the result. Now, one of the condition of science is that one particular protocol or methodology should be independent of place. So what you are doing in Asansol, that I can do in Bardhaman, someone can do in Birmingham, and someone can do it Barcelona. So it does not matter. So that particular protocol and experimentation failed on the other laboratories located in other world. That may also lead to, but this kind of situation things our academia is basically unaware of. We simply do not throw light on it. So that is one particular submission. Now the question comes that is there any way to restrict our researcher to cite an already retracted paper? There are many interesting bibliometric study that even a retracted paper got a huge number of citations before retracted from the journal publication. Kind of things need to be avoided, and fortunately the tools we are learning, as I talked
Hello, sir. Sorry to disturb, but you're not audible, sir.
Sir, you are not audible. The screen is being shown, but we can't get any voice from your end.
Sir, we couldn't hear you actually for last couple of minutes. PSM sir, can you hear us?
bibliometrics of retracted paper recently. So we came to know all these facts during that particular
Sir,
endeavor.
sorry, but we
Sorry,
couldn't
but
sir,
we couldn't,
to interrupt
sorry,
you.
to
We
interrupt you.
couldn't hear you
We
for last
couldn't
couple
hear
of
you for
minutes,
last
last
couple
three
of
minutes
minutes, last
for
3
to be
minutes
precise.
for to be precise. You are not getting the you are not getting my voice or not getting my slides.
Sir, we are not
Sir,
getting
we
your
are not
voice
getting
now.
your voice, sir. Right now it's come. Okay. So I have completed that many reasons of retraction are there, that you got it. Retraction database, you
No,
got
sir.
it. No sir.
No, sir.
No,
No,
no
sir.
sir. No
No,
sir.
sir. No, sir. No, sir.
No
No,
sir.
sir.
No
No,
sir.
sir.
No sir. Okay, then let me repeat again. Hello, can someone tell me that have you got up to this point? That retraction.com?
Sir, just a little bit ahead of
A
this,
little
sir.
bit ahead of this, sir. Little bit ahead of this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no. Okay, now it is okay. Okay, what
Yes,
I
sir. It's
tried
okay
to
now.
mean
Yes,
here.
sir. It's okay now. No, no, sir. We have heard this part. 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 Later, sir.
So once I can you tell me the last the for retraction? Okay, fine. Okay, okay. So I'm starting right from here. Don't worry. It may be something maybe I'm repeating, but don't worry. Okay. So this is the what I say. Try to mute from your side. Okay. Please mute from your side. You are getting my voice and slide both. Let
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So what I tried to mean in the during the last 3-4 minutes, that retraction is the concept of retraction is becoming much more important in compare with the plagiarism nowadays, because plagiarism of retraction, and in an Indian higher education system we seem to neglect the other integrity. So there is a data sets. You can see the site address from the trucksandwatch.com. They have actually consolidated 90 plus reasons that can retraction of a research paper. Now all these reasons, if you click the appendix B of this particular site, which is actually a red box. So if you click this particular appendix B, you will be getting the reasons listed there in alphabetically. Now when we studied all the 90 plus reasons given by the retraction, was we got there. So here you see there are only 4 factors plagiarism. So of the 90 plus factors consolidated by the committee of retractionwatch.com, that factors can lead to paper. Only 4 factors are actually related to plagiarism. Of articles, plagiarism of data, plagiarism of image, of text. So these 4 factors. So 84, 85 factors are actually other than plagiarism. simply not tell our colleagues, do not teach our researcher that these are 84, 85 factors you also need to consider, because that can also lead to retraction of your paper. Now we did a very small experiment with, state of the art in retraction of the produced from retractionwatch.com, that is called retractiondatabase.org. You can have a direct link particular site to this particular data set. Now here I did a very simple search. We selected country as India initially. Then here we have selected last 10 years, January 2010 to December 2019, and made a search that how many papers got retracted from India during the last 10 years. So it produced 106 number of papers originated from India have been retracted in the last 10 years. So you see, per annum basis, 100 originally published from India are actually got retracted because of the many reasons, including plagiarism. Then we again fine-tuned our query to understand how plagiarism is playing a role. So this time you see, apart from all other previous criteria like country as India, time as last 10 years, we added that you please retrieve only those papers which got retracted due to plagiarism. Now you see that 310 number of papers is actually retracted during the last 10 years because of plagiarism. This 310 number of papers out of 106 number of papers is actually around 1/3. So majority of our paper, 2/3 papers that have been retracted from India are
Sir, you are not audible again, sir.
aware to plagiarism, but there is simply zero awareness related to retraction. So now our focus need to change from plagiarism to retraction. That is one of my submission. Now another thing is that how a particular researcher or academia can know automatically that which paper has got retracted, and because publication also that particular paper retracted from the journal. So how to know that, how to keep pace with the ongoing changes? So again my point is that nowadays you see nowadays tools, sorry, not Bibliometrics, reference management tool, what we are learning here, the Zotero, the beta version or the latest version Retraction Watch database in real time, Ajax, asynchronous Java and XML. Now what is happening because of this utility? Or unintentionally, unknowingly included one of the paper, here you see one of the paper published from India got retracted, that I simply do not know. I added into on my database, and you see Zotero can produce an warning. It is not producing any warning related to other articles I have collected here. Article, pathogen specific, etc. This article, it is saying this work has been retracted, an item in your database has been retracted. So this is the first level of caution given giving to me by Zotero. Automatically it collected data sets from retractionwatch.com, integrated with it in my that particular information. Now wrongly suppose again miss this particular caution, tried to include that particular paper in my reference. Suppose here I am writing a paper and created a citation placeholder and tried to include that that particular paper in my reference. So what is happening? Again the second level warning came from Zotero that the item you are citing has been retracted. Do you still want to add it in your document? So definitely in the second level of caution, most of us will click the cancel button, and this got during our work related to the bibliometrics of the retracted papers, and we got very many interesting findings, but this is the general awareness related to the academic. I hope this time you got it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now let us come to another 4-5 advanced level points. So basic level of Zotero and reference management we have completed previous day. Now today we are going to check 3-4 features available in Zotero. Now please Abhijit, report me. Can you see the Zotero screen in your machine? Is it?
Yes, sir. It is
Yes,
visible,
sir. It
sir.
is.
Visible, sir. Sir, your Zotero screen is visible, sir. Sir, you have gone silent again, sir. Your voice is not audible.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible to you? Hello. Am I audible?
Audible, sir.
So give me a share permission, please. Okay. It came. It came. So after sharing, please someone please Zotero screen here. Hello.
Yes, sir. Your
Yes,
Zotero
sir.
screen is visible.
Okay. So So you see here that in the last day we created one collection called BBC AGC and collected a few references, and you know how to collect the references now. Now that one particular advanced feature of Zotero, that suppose you came to know about Zotero, starting with Zotero from today itself or from the last week. But before that, definitely you are having lot many important publications downloaded in PDF format in your local folder. So now question comes that I started working with Zotero, but I have PDF, during the last many years in the domain of my research activity. So what to do with that particular PDF? Again, I need to go to the online version of the paper and I need to collect the references, not at the advanced feature of Zotero, the first advanced feature what I am going to show you. So first, this particular, just like you, this particular folder, I have also collected lot many published paper available in my area in PDF format. For example, this particular paper. This particular paper, this is not a say. So this is an article, cataloging theory in search of graph theory, collected, downloaded from the journal portal, and now do I need to go again to the journal portal to collect online the references? I will not do that. What I will do, I will minimize the folder in which my in the Zotero screen, you can minimize your folder where you have gathered all the data, PDF files. Now from here, I simply this particular paper. What I will do, I simply drag this paper from here to here. What happens? You see this for what happens? PDF. So you see the power of this particular software. We have demonstrated that how you can collect your references online. Now I am showing you that suppose you have downloaded something offline, you have some very important papers in offline mode you have already downloaded, that also you can drag and you can snatch information from it. Let me show you again, because as it is very important from my paper. So move item trace. Now again back to one. Now in this particular I have the folder and you minimize the folder. So this particular folder will be minimized with all the papers. With all. Now suppose I want to extract, I want to this particular paper insert, select and drag the PDF file here. So one file. So it came. Now if it is another particular paper, suppose I am dragging another particular paper. So here you see PDF file I have been dragged. I have I got from the dragging, and in both the cases, this is the first case. It automatically snatched the title of the paper, authors of, that is the title of the journal, volume, issue, and so on, DOI number. And in the second case also, this is the next paper. So it, you see, partially it can collect all the things, because sometimes it depends on the availability of the information in the PDF format. If the amount of information it got from that particular PDF, it can snatch automatically. You can check that in most there it can snatch everything in total, but in some cases, that's why I have given two different examples before you. In some cases it can partially snatch title and author which appeared in the first page of the journal. So journal name it could not found in the first page, so you need to manually enter it. So sometimes you need to find manually, because and always suppose as it is not completed, I am moving this particular item to trash. So in this way I can snatch most of my PDF file, most of the completed PDF file. At least the information must be available in the first page of PDF. And nowadays almost all paper got the necessary bibliographic information in the starting page of a particular paper. Exceptions are there for very old journal papers. So this is the first thing, that we can snatch references offline. Now the second important thing is that how we can change from one citation standard to another citation. So
Sir, your sound has gone again, sir.
model edition, 8th edition it supports. So most of the standard citation format we are following either in social sciences or sciences can be managed. And in the feature I will show you, if something is not there, suppose I am writing faster, doing in APA, then I will change the citation from APA to MLA. Latest edition, 7th edition, I am selecting, this is the format. Now as you know, this will give me a search box, and suppose I am now this particular author, Nauroji, N-O-R. So I am searching by N-O-R. So this paper came. I would like to cite another delete second one, and suppose in the next citation I am from, so this particular suppose paper here. So this particular I have utilized from BBC folder related to. Now suppose I want to references. Now already that how to produce the bibliography. How in Zotero add edit bibliography, if I click, now you see all the basically added alphabetically alphabet and according to the APA citation. Now suppose this paper, I just imagine it's a paper, because if I use a long text the view part will be difficult. So I utilize 3 citations in APA format, and suppose my paper is now ready, send that paper to the journal editor. This paper got rejected. Now, not throw our reject into dustbin, again improvement, some kind of refocusing in another journal. So suppose the next journal what I have selected, that unfortunately not follow APA, it followed MLA. Now you see here, is this particular citation order from APA to me that within a second I can change my references from APA to MLA. Now you see how. So here you see now Jotero has got many icons. There are almost 5 icons are here. First one is to add citation, second one to generate bibliography, third one for refreshing. You are adding a particular references and immediately you want to search, then you need to refresh it. But the fourth point is very important. If I click it again, you see here the document preference block again come back to me. So there if I select, okay, now I am not interested in APA anymore. I want to change this reference from MLA 8th edition to MLA 8th edition, Machine Model Language Association 8th edition from the APA. So if I select it and click OK, you see the magic. So automatically in-text citation got changed. The main difference between the in-text citation style of MLA and APA is that in MLA there is no, yeah, change, and at the same time all reference you also change. You see now the title is included within inverted code. So those who are involved with the MLA kind of citations style, they can now understand that how it has got changed rapidly. Now suppose unfortunately this is also author data, this is author and my attempt also failed in the journal I have sent, and now I need to try the third journal, and again unfortunately this third journal follow a IEEE or kind of citation. As we discussed last day, that most of the science related journals follow numeric pattern of citation. So suppose it is also following the numeric citation pattern, but citation 2, 3 and so on critically, and the citations is sorry. So again, you see it's a huge task to convert an author date or author style citation format into a numeric style citation format. But Zoter, what I will do, I will again try for the third journal, change this one. So now I am in MLA. Now I am selecting. I need to follow either I sub numeric order. Now suppose if I click, now you see all your index superscript. So you can see here 1,
There is no audio.
features of Job. And advanced level features of Job, which is very handy spent time in become a master, and you can do different kind of magic. Now again, if I come interface of all the papers by creator, again A to Z. If I click creator, so now it becomes A to Z alphabetical ascending order. Now I want Z to A descending alphabetical order. Again I click creator, it will be default all will be arranged alphabetically by title. If I click title, now it will be alphabetically by title. If I again click title, descending order. So in this way you can arrange your things. And one particular point is very important, which I got benefited this particular feature of Zotero. That means nowadays most of the colleges, why most, almost all of the colleges and universities has got their IQAC, internal quality assurance cell. So there from IQAC people, every year they ask you that you submit your list of publication by following any standard citation format. So one collection you can create, say for example here I citation. So apart from your reference activities, you can also create one particular folder which can hold all of your publications in different. So now suppose that the last I want to display according, this is all the papers I have gathered from my Google Scholar. What I follow the system, I first in details from Google Scholar. I take bib text. Now particular bib text format, you can suppose I want to import from bib RIS, etc. So BibTeX is a preferred exchange format to citation. You can take a backup of your, simply import that particular file and you will be having either by my citation or the name you wish. And suppose you want to you want the other way around, that means you want to first create your bibliography in Zotero, then you want to import inside Google. That is also possible. So suppose this particular I have prepared Zotero at the first case, then I can again export the format, and is again a preferable format because a lot many citations including Google Scholar support it, including ORCID supports BibTeX. So you can now transfer your entire personal publication into ORCID if you export in BibTeX format. So suppose I can export this particular collection and then can import into inside Google or ORCID. And if you can, and you can create export collection. So the same result will come. So here in that case, you are basically select year. and I am interested to in 2012. So you see all 2012 published. In this way, suppose your IQAC wants that what you have published in the last academic session, so you can select in this way the year, and automatically within a minute you can create a list of references of your own publication and send to IQAC. So normally because of the nitty-gritty involved with the process, teachers normally do take much of the time, but my suggestion is that you can utilize Zotero for personal research assistant also. Apart from managing references, you can manage also your published paper there. So that is one of the last final advanced feature what I'm going to share with you. Last two, in fact. One is the how can we collect this thing, a particular reference. It is not there, but I want to add it. Search any reference in any libraries and any of you know uh, any of the repositories, any of search engines into this hub. So that particular mechanism first I will explain, and those who are interested, I will send them my script that you can apply at your end to integrate this inside your Zotero. So let us again come back to BBC AGC. Some of the references it is not there. So how to know that what are the Zotero library or citation style? So if you go to tool part, this edit part, under edit there is an option called preferences. Now in the preferences you can find there are many tabs: general, synchronization, search, export, and cite. Cite is most important for us. The first tab under the cite is style, and second tab under the style is word processor. So if your word processor and Zotero is linked, then Zotero will tell you reinstall LibreOffice. I am using here LibreOffice because it is already installed. In your case, it will tell you if it is installed properly that reinstall MS Word add-in. If it is not at all installed, it will give you here message install MS Word plugin, or in my case install LibreOffice add-in. So this is important. Let's go again, go back in the style part. Styles are there, arranged alphabetically. First you check whether your citation styles are there or not. And these are all basic citation style, most popular citation standard followed by scientists, researchers all over the world. But there are there is every chance that some of the peculiar journal citation management system not getting here by default. So in that particular case, suppose I want to add a particular citation format for geography. Now, suppose just imagine that. Now, what I will do, that is not already available inside the Zotero. So, what I will do, I will click Get Additional Style, and you must be connected to the internet. Please remember. It's now going to connect the Zotero central repository. Huge number of collections are there, and you can remember the last day I was talking about that the all referenced citation styles can be categorized into 5 groups according to the index style format. Either it is author index format or author date index format like APA, author like MLA, label, note, and numeric. Now suppose you need, what you need, first you need to decide that this particular journal followed what fundamental type of citation style, in-text citation style. Suppose it follows author date. So if you select author date, then only author date kind of citations will be retrieved. Now in the next level you see lot many fields are there. So as I said, it is arranged alphabetically. As I said, I am interested in geography citations. So I click geography. So all from the central style repository of geography, it tells me actually found 51 number styles actually related to, and that support author date citation pattern. So suppose I am interested, which is not, is Journal of Biogeography. That means only a few researchers are interested into biogeography. So suppose this Journal of Biogeography, if I click here, it will load me that how my in-text citations looks in case of particular according to this particular style, and how my bibliography or reference looks according to this particular. If I am sure that okay, this is the particular format my Journal of Biogeography, and I can adapt it, the simple thing I need to do, I need to click it. The moment I click it, after this selection part is over, here you see in my central local Zotero collection, Journal of Biogeography added, and it also gives me a date, that is the 29th December 2018, where this particular journal style last updated or modified. So Journal of Biogeography added inside my local system. After job is over, if I don't need this particular standard anymore, do not jam your local folder with a lot many citation style. It will be slightly confusing later on. So when there is no need, you just select it and click this minus sign here. It will be deleted from your local folder. So that is the last part, one advanced feature in Zotero what we can follow. Now the last, say for example, as I told you that if a journal paper, suppose this paper got a DOI number or a book got an ISBN number, so I can check the original availability of the full text of the paper or full text of the paper in different kind of legal open access sources as well as from illegal open access sources like Sci-Hub. Although I do not consider Sci-Hub as an illegal, we call it guerrilla open access. Other thing is the mainstream open access system, just like our freedom struggle. As I said, that one route is non-cooperation, non-violence under Gandhiji, and another route is that Larke Lenge Hindustan under Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So they are not illegal. They call themselves guerrilla open access system. And I would like to request some of you who are interested that please read the guerrilla open access manifesto written by Aaron Swartz way back in 2008. It's an excellent piece of writing. It's a 3-page what to say, white paper kind of thing that will give you an idea what is happening with the business of science science publication. So anyway, that's a separate issue. So suppose this particular journal paper reference I have got collected. Now I need the full text. So what to do? I can this of the search services automatically generated if a particular article got an DOI. Please remember, if your article do not have DOI, this search service will not be displayed. So up to Google Scholar it will be displayed, but these are the things we have added that won't be displayed because everything works on DOI. So if I select Sci-Hub, that I want this particular paper from Sci-Hub, it will now go to Sci-Hub automatically. I don't have to go there. It will negotiate with the Sci-Hub to retrieve the this particular thing. You can see here what is happening. So it is actually working to the Sci-Hub.tw with the DOI number, and it what I am having. So this is the beauty. This is the advantage. Everything is now in your fingertips. And suppose I am closing this one. Now the very paper want to search whether it is available in legal open access. Where do you open with Firefox. And now this is from my side OBJ. But before ending, let me show the mechanism what I am doing here. So this search interface is not available by default with Zotero. What we changed, you see, install your Zotero. This is the case of Linux. So it will be creating a home folder, a Zotero folder under my home directory, something like this. So if you in Windows, it will be created a particular folder called Zotero. If you click that particular folder, there you can see a particular folder called locate. If you click the locate folder, this is particular engine.json, and this particular I have placed it there so that I can immediately understand. Just for example, these icons are coming, ebooks, OADOI, Sci-Hub, all are coming because of these icons. I have placed it here. So this engine.json you will find there, but that is the default one. But we have of JavaScript in default lookup engine can include lot many other sources as we are directing, say book, libgen, OADOI, Sci-Hub, all are included. If you are interested for this file I will share this zip file. So this zip particular file is engine.json and all the icon zip file and folder. So place it under the locate folder of your Zotero. So it asks you, do you want to replace engine.json?
Hello, sir. You're not audible.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Are you there?
Sir, you are not audible, sir. Sir.
Hello, sir. You're not audible, sir.
My part is over. Over to you.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So we have some. Thank you, sir. For 2 days, it was really very much enlightening. It was really very enlightening for 2 days that your talk and your presentations It was really enlightening for and there were lots of positive feedbacks on this issue. Although today we have been hampered a bit by the audio quality and internet connection, but still there was a lot of things which was done. So there are several questions. Among one, asks, he was not able to get how to add Sci-Hub extensions into Zotero. And part was got sort of disconnected out, sir. If you could explain this part a bit.
Okay, so inside the Zotero folder, there is a folder, subfolder called locate. So locate includes a lookup engine called engine.json. The default engine.json do not include the provision for Sci-Hub and mainstream open access like OADOI or so the default engine.json according to our system, according to our need rather, we have included all search services inside the JSON, so that on the basis of DOI in case of journal article or on the basis of ISBN in case of included reference books, it can search Sci-Hub, it can search OADOI, it can search libgen and get the full text of the resource to you. So my suggestion is that I can share my script with you. So you need to download the zip folder there, unzip it, copy all files there and place inside your locate folder. That will do the things for you. You don't have to write anything.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
It would be very nice to if you could share it. And sir, there are one more question. Say for example, one researcher, he's working on one computer on and makes a library on his own personal library, Zotero. And then he takes this particular, goes to another place, maybe to his office, and he starts to work over there also. Perhaps he's using the office computer or something. So can these citations be exported from one computer to another?
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Other questions include, sir, that if one person asks that if I'm citing a source from another text, it's a text file, the PDF is not installed into Zotero. Can I type and include the source into Zotero to put this in my bibliography? To know if another text file can be cited over there inside Zotero.
Yes, of course. Suppose you have your material in .txt format and you wish to enter the bibliographical details manually. So you can do that in Zotero. Before the new collection, you will be having new item. So it will create a drop down list, book chapter, journal article, and many things are there, video, everything. So there you select your document type. Then you will be getting a form kind of thing, title, author, abstract, volume, issue, journal name, etc. You enter that manually. That will do.
Okay, sir.
There is no more questions over here.
And
it was
very enlightening.
talk.
I would now ask Rajarshi to introduce the next speaker.
Shall I begin, Ornupta?
Yes, please do so, because there's a lot of internet connection problems going over here. So please do so. The question answer session, I would request the participants to mail their question answers, and we will contact Professor Mukhopadhyay to solve your queries. Because of certain technical problems, today's session was extremely truncated and interrupted. So please do send your questions, and we will try our best to answer them, and we will forward them to Professor Mukhopadhyay. Rajesh, please introduce the next.
Thank you, Ornupda. Thank you, Dr. I guess the digital things get scuttled and truncated at times. So rather not wasting any more time, let us move on to the next session, our final session of today. Good afternoon, everyone. We are honored to have Dr. Vidyarthi Datta with us for the final session of our e-workshop on citations, references, and research ethics. Dr. Vidyarthi Dotto is a faculty member at the Department of Library and Information Science, Vidyasagar University. He is an honorary teacher at Bengal Library Association, Kolkata since 2007. He received doctorate degree from Jadavpur University, Kolkata. He completed one research project on preservation and digitization of rare documents of St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, funded by UNESCO during 2006 to 8, and one UGC-sponsored innovative research project on development of information retrieval tool year 2014. Currently, he is working as principal investigator of a DST-sponsored research project on scientometrics. Dr. Dotto has authored more than 50 articles in several peer-reviewed journals and presented papers in several national and international seminars, conferences, and workshops. He is going to enlighten us today on metric studies. Dr. Vidyarthi Dotto, sir, over to you. Ananda, may I request you to kindly make Dr. Vidyarthi Dotto host for the session?
Yeah. Just hold on for a minute. Sir, you are the presenter now, Professor Dotto, you are the presenter now, sir.
You may kindly begin, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible, but we couldn't see you.
Sir, hello, am
You
I
can start.
audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You may start the video, please.
Okay. Please give me share permission. Okay, it is good.
Sir, you have got the permission to share, sir. You are the presenter right now, sir.
Okay, thank you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, the organizers of DB College, Asansol and Asansol Girls College for arranging this very nice workshop on citations, references, and research ethics. And also, thank you so much to my previous speaker for the very benevolent presentations and lectures. Now, I will cover the topic that is metric studies exploring new possibilities. Now, metric studies, the term metric, METRIC. Actually, the inherent meaning of this term is some type of measurement. And this term was originated from the French word metricus, and it was first used in the year 1864. And metric studies, actually, metric studies can be used in the context of any subject, and then it is named as that particular subject plus metrics. For example, in library services, the metric studies was first initiated in the year 1917, and at that time it was known as statistical bibliography. And we did discuss that the history of bibliography, indicating that the origin of the term is what I have just told. It was first used by Poole and Yales in 1917 and by Hume in 1922. And this term actually signals application of quantitative methods in library and bibliographic works. Actually, at that time it meant so. And the metric studies in relation to library and information systems and services had so many terms. For instance, bibliometry, this term was coined around 1940s, bibliometrics, cytometrics, informetrics, cybermetrics, etc. Webometrics also. This term was coined after 2000, and therefore in different times, so many terms hovered around this concept of metrics. Also, patentometrics in relation to patent, science patents, blogometrics in relation to blogs, newsmetrics in relation to news and journalism, wikimetrics, Wikipedia metrics, open source metrics, and now it is very popular term altmetrics, that is alternative metrics. So many metrics are there. And finally, econometrics, sociometrics, econometrics in the context of economics, sociometrics in the context of sociology, psychometry in the context of psychology or educometry in education, etc. Now, from implemental perspective, the root of this metric studies, whatever metrics that may be, Sciento or bibliometrics, the root lies in the subject statistics. And from methodological perspective, the root of Sciento or bibliometrics lies in sociology of science, which is a part of sociology actually that studies relationships between different idea systems and a variety of institutional and personality factors. And this field was actually sociology of science. This field was traditionally dominated by philosophy of science and history of science. And in sociology of science, this subject, the sociology of science, it was popularized in the year 1967 by Robert K. Martin. Actually, Robert K. Martin made this term very popular. And this term, actually, the sociology of science, it consists of basically four approaches. First one is sociology of knowledge, then normative approach, then study on characteristics of scientific knowledge, and finally study on characteristics of scientist behaviors. In particular, the ways of usage of scientific literature. And this is the root of scientometrics or bibliometrics. So how scientists behave? Behave means how scientists refer other scientists' works. How scientists refer the works of their previous authors' works in their research works. That is the point. Here, behavior means that. And the course of study, the behavior of scientists in using their previous literature actually developed this area, that is scientometrics or bibliometrics. Actually, bibliometrics indicates the application of statistical tools and techniques in bibliographic development, whereas scientometrics, it encompasses the application in developing science policy, mainly science policy. Now, this is the different stages of sociology of science. This is actually curve and it indicates how a subject develops from its birth. This is the origin a subject births when it remains in institutional forms. Gradually, the subject enters in the domain of the society. Then, its literature, that is, scientific papers, gradually develop. And those papers gradually consolidated into textbook and domain-specific journals, and then gradually different philosophical pragmatism, consistency, that is, different debates and controversial issues about the subject arises. And finally, the paradigm is formulated and the subject gradually saturated, and when it goes to saturation, other subjects are developed from this subject, one subject, that may be cross-disciplinary or multidisciplinary or single disciplinary. Next, we have told about growth and formation of subject, and next we will talk about citation analysis. This is actually crux of metric studies, what we'll discuss now. Actually, in relation to research communication and research evaluation, the evaluation of journal articles, the evaluation of books, or scholarly, other forms of scholarly communication basically includes citation analysis, and therefore it is said that citation analysis forms the crux of metric studies. Now, citation analysis helps in measuring the relative importance of quality contribution. Also, it shows the status of scientists' esteem. Also, it helps in finding important contribution of other scientists in the subject concerned, and it helps in evaluating scientific activities of scientists. Next, citation analysis, some consequences. For instance, when we do citation analysis, some issues appear. For instance, co-citation coupling, citation counting. Citation counting is nothing but total number of citations received. Next, bibliographic coupling. Next, self-citation, that may be journal self-citation and author self-citation. Next, recitation. Actually, this red mark, self-citation and recitation, these are also considered as demerits of citation analysis. Next, direct citation. Next, scholarliness and obsolescence. Next, mapping of science. Co-citation coupling, it is simple. If papers A and B are both cited by paper C, they may be said to be related to one another, even though they don't directly cite each other. This kind of relationship is called co-citation coupling. And similarly, if papers A and B both cite paper C, they may be said to be related, even though they don't directly cite each other. And this kind of relationship called bibliographic coupling. Hence, co-citation coupling and bibliographic coupling, they may be considered as mirror image of one another, mutual mirror image. Next, bibliometric approach. So, the concept of metrics in today's concept, today's context, today the sense in which we say bibliometrics or scientometrics, that is originated basically here, and that approach is known as bibliometric approach. And Derek D. Sola Price is known as the father of bibliometrics. Actually, D. Sola Price is known as father of theoretical or conceptual bibliometrics. He generalized different bibliometric laws. And Eugene Garfield, he is known as father of practical bibliometrics, and he showed the application of bibliometric laws. D. Sola Price basically was a physicist and historian of science, And around 1950s, he estimated the number of scholarly periodical titles being published by the end of 20th century that would exceed 1 million. And his masterpiece, Little Science, Big Science and Beyond, this is a very important document and definitely a must read for all students. And Price pointed out different models of growth of literature, but just a few slides back, we showed the application of sociology of science, how a subject grows. Similarly here, for instance, this is exponential model, growth of literature model, how a subject grows. This is the graph, and this is the equation, y is equal to a b to the power x, or y is equal to a into e to the power k, or exponential case or e to the power k. This is the equation. So a subject, here literature means the journal articles and books about a particular topic. The journal articles and books published about a particular subject topic, that is called literature. And since the birth of a subject, how the publications about that subject grows with time, that is shown here. This is the time of birth of a subject, and with time its number of articles grows. So this is exponential growth. Exponential growth is very common. Actually, it is a very natural phenomena. Population growth. Initially, it follows an exponential model. Rather, about that COVID growth, initially it was also, it followed the exponential model. Next, logistic model. Actually, in case of subject, this logistic pattern is observed. This is the equation, y is equal to a by e to the power minus kx, or y is equal to a b to the power minus x. And the graph shows an S-shaped pattern. That is initial phase, then growth phase, and eventually it saturates. And we have seen the three phases of growth. Number one, formation phase, number two, growth phase, and number three, saturation phase. And during growth phase, up to growth phase, the pattern becomes exponential. And with time, when saturation starts, this pattern gradually becomes decaying, and the entire curve is known as logistic curve. And only the first and middle part, they are known as exponential curve. Now, in these three phases of growth, first is formation phase, then first transition occurs. This is the fastest mode, then growth phase, then second transition, and eventually saturation phase. And this kind of growth pattern is observed for any subject, particularly new subject. And even for traditional subject also, the subjects which started during the end of 19th century particularly, this pattern is very well observed. Besides growth model, there are some other models, growth models exist. For instance, power model. It is a function of the form y is equal to a x to the power n, or a by x to the power n. Narayan, the Indian mathematician, he introduced this power law, that is z equal to k into p to the power minus a, where k and a are constants, and jp is the number of, here p is the number of publications, and z is the number of sources. Or Gompertz model, y is equal to a into b to the power c whole to the power x. This is actually log linear model. If you take logarithm on both sides, it will become log y equal to log a plus log b into c to the power x. And this model, some subjects also show these kinds of growth model. For instance, the subjects, newly developed subjects like nanoscience, or nanotechnology, they show this power growth model. Eugene Garfield, known as father of applied bibliometrics, and he is the founder of what today we call Web of Science. Actually, Web of Science, he is known as the father of Citation Index, and he is the founder of ISI, that is Institute for Science Information, in 1964, where he developed Science Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, and Arts and Humanities Citation Index. And this Science Citation Index, today's form is Web of Knowledge or Web of Science. And it was very popular, even till today it is very popular as a citation database. Today, in 1995, from 1964 to 1994, the Science Citation Index was the only citation database. In 1995, Scopus started. And Scopus started recording comprehensively since after 2000. Nowadays, today, just 2 years back, another very famous citation database came, that is Dimension also. Now, these are classical bibliometrics indicators or journal level indicators. That is total citation count, impact factor, normalized impact factor, Immediacy Index, cited half-life and citing half-life, self-citation, cited uncited ratio, and there are many other. So impact factor of this impact factor is very well known, and we all know what it is. We always judge a journal by impact factor. This is nothing but C1 plus C2 by X1 plus X2. In the numerator, there are two factors, C1 plus C2. Here, C1 is the number of citations. This is actually 2-year impact factor, and C1 is the number of citations of the articles. C2 also number of citations. Suppose I am calculating the impact factor of a journal for the year 2019. Then C1 will be number of citations received by the articles of that journal published 2 years back, that is 2017. And C2 indicates the same thing, number of citations received by the articles published in that journal 1 year back, that is in 2018. So sum of citation, and X1 is the number of articles in 2017 and X2 is the number of articles in 2018. So impact factor is nothing. It is just averaging of citation over 2 years. Averaging of citation. Then normalized impact factor, we'll come to that. Then immediacy index, it indicates the citation number of article ratio for the current year. Suppose we are calculating the immediacy index of a journal for 2020. Then X will indicate the number of articles published in 2020 and C will indicate number of citations received in 2020. Then cited half-life and citing half-life. Half-lives are used actually for obsolescence studies. How quick the articles are becoming obsolete. Self-citation, it may be if one particular journal cites its earlier works or an author cites his or her earlier works, that is self-citation. And cited uncited ratio between number of cited papers to number of uncited papers. Now, these are, we have so long discussed, they are classical bibliometric indicators. Now, these classical indicators are mainly journal level indicators, whereas the concept of author level, actually before the year 2000, the concept of author level or article level indicators were not there. Then indicators were mainly based on journals. But concept of author and article level indicators were developed after the year 2000. And introduction of age index by Hertz in 2005 was the milestone of modern or post-2K metrics. And introduction of the concept of alt metrics by Jason Priya in 2010 was another milestone, particularly in the developing alternative metrics for author, article, or journals. Now, citation count, we have just told. Total citation count, it may be of several types. Total citation count may be cumulative citation count, may be average citation count. Average may be of several kinds. Journal average, author average over geographic location, institutional average, or temporal average. This is how to calculate impact factor. Just what I have told. This is the ratio of number of citations to the number of publications. And here, so in denominator, there will be number of citations. And in this journal, we have found impact factor is 2.061. So when the number of citations will be greater than number of articles, definitely impact factor will be greater than 1. This is the point. And this is normalized impact factor introduced by Shane in 1992. Normalized impact factor is nothing. Actually, journal impact factor depends on a subject. It widely varies over subject, and therefore it has some limitations. For instance, in social science or mathematics, the citation accumulation rate is very low. Therefore, social science or mathematics journals usually have low impact factor. But in medical science, it is shown normally, it is observed that in medical science, impact factor is high. In biological science, it is also very high. In physical science, is lower, but still higher than social science, like that. In chemistry, it is usually higher than physical science. And normalized impact factor, it just normalizes the impact factor in terms of a particular subject domain. For instance, NIF equal to IF into M, where M is the multiplier, and M equal to 10 by HIF, where HIF indicates highest impact factor of the item under specific category in a particular year. Hence, normalized impact factor will be 10 into IF by HIF. And therefore, if a subject has a high citation accumulation, its HIF will be higher. If we divide the impact factor of the journal by HIF, then the standard figure will be obtained. That is the point. Next, immediacy index I have told. This is how to calculate immediacy index. The citation ratio of citation to number of articles against a particular year. But impact factor was, it contained the previous 2 years citation data. Next, half-life. Half-life is calculated based on citations to or from the journal by the cumulative percent of year 2010 to 19, percent of 2012 sites until average 50% to items published in the year. Here 50% sites achieved between 2013 to 14. For instance, the journal published in 2019, it received 65 citations in 2019. 2019 articles got this much citation. 2018 article this. 2017 publications got this citation. 2016, 15 unlikely. And 2010 articles got these citations, and pre-2010 articles got this citation. 1232. Now, cumulative. This is the cumulative percentage, and it is shown the total percentage pre-2010. This is the entire percentage, and the 50% reached between 2013 and 14. And hence, its half-life is 6.5 years. And half-life is an indication of obsolescence time. That is the duration in which the literature of a subject domain corresponding to a subject domain gets obsolete. That is half. Next, co-authorship index. This is actually, it indicates it is actually the collaborating pattern, co-authorship index, where CAI is this, and where NIJ is the number of papers having J authors in block I. Block means this is a research group, it indicates a particular research group. NIO total output. So this is the ratio, number of papers having a particular group divided by total output divided by number of papers having authors in another group divided by total number of papers in all. Its co-authorship index indicates the collaboration of authors. In what percentage authors collaborate in a particular research group. Next, degree of collaboration, introduced by Subramanian in 1983. It is NM by NM plus NS, where NM is the number of multi-authored papers and NS is the number of single-authored papers. So it indicates collaboration, but ungrouped collaboration. Actually, co-authorship indicates grouped collaboration. It is a group collaboration indicator, and degree of collaboration is an ungrouped collaboration indicator. Next, activity index, introduced in 1990, which means it is a ratio between the country's share in global publication output in a subject divided by the country's share in global publication output in all subjects in a discipline. Discipline means broad discipline. For instance, pure science is a discipline, and under this there are several subjects like mathematics, physics, astronomy, chemistry, geology, zoology, botany, physiology, etc. That is the point. Next, attractivity index. It is a ratio between the country share in citation attracted by publications in a subject divided by country share in citations attracted by publications in all subjects. That is, it indicates the citation over the geographical location. Next, relative growth rate. RGR, it is W2 minus W1 by T2 minus T1, where W1 is the logarithm of initial number of papers and W2 logarithm of final number of papers. Initial final means T1 is the initial year, T2 is the final. Hence, W1 is logarithm of number of papers published in the year T1 and W2 is logarithm of the number of papers published in the year T2. This is relative growth rates and its reciprocal is the doubling time, not exact reciprocal. Doubling time is the 0.693 divided by relative growth rate, and it indicates a particular time period. That is the duration in which the publication volume exactly doubles. And it is to be noted that the relative growth rate and particularly this formula doubling time holds good for exponential growth only, not for power or logistic model. So these are P2K classical bibliometric indicators we have discussed. That is total citation count, cited, uncited ratio, impact factor, normalized impact factor, immediacy index, and half-life. And now we'll discuss some post-2K journal metrics. Journal metrics introduced after the year 2000, but not based on citation count. Actually, these indicators were all based on citation count. But there are some other indicators which are not based on citation count. For instance, journal affinity. This was introduced in the year 2007, and it is the ratio of total number of foreign authors for a given period divided by total number of authors for a given period. That is ratio of foreign authors to authors of that particular country. Hence, journal affinity is an indicator with respect to a particular country. Next, journal associativity, which indicates the ratio of total number of authors for a given period divided by total number of articles for a given period. So number of authors articles ratio. Next, journal consumption. This is the ratio between citation divided by references into citing journal by cited journal. Hence, one journal is concerned or considered by how many other journals. So, journal consumption actually points out the sphere of influence of a particular journal, how it influences other journals and to what extent. Let us now just draw a comparative study between classical P2K and modern, that is post-2K bibliometric indicators. Pre-2K or classical indicators are mainly journal level, but post-2K are mainly author level. And of the author level indicators, before H index, let us first tell IN index. That is I10 index. It is very commonly used, but it may be I5 or I20 index also. That is I10 index means how many articles got 10 or more citation. I20 index will be how many articles get 20 or more citation, like that. Hence, IN index indicates the number of papers published by a research scholar getting n number of citations. If n equal to 10, then IN index becomes I10 index, which is most popular. And it has a limitation also. It is restricted to Google Scholar only. And the scholar that one is looking for must have a Google Scholar profile. Next, H index, it is another pathbreaker. And now what is H index? It is just a single number representing the scholarly output of a researcher proposed by Hertz of San Diego, and it is less skewed than other classical indicators. Besides author, it is also used to rank specific research topics, institution, departments, journal, etc. And the adjacent figure shows the plot of decreasing citations with ranked papers. And what is the main difference of H index with other indices? Actually, why H index? What was its advantage? Major advantage is that the impact factor type indicators, impact factor or immediacy index, they were eventually a type of or kind of average just. But H index is not a kind of average. Rather, H index is a solution of an equation, which we'll point out later. Suppose there is an equation R equal to CR or R to the power alpha equal to beta into CR, where CR is the number of citations of the rth publication from the ranked list or articles of the researcher. Here alpha and beta are constants, and for H index alpha equal to beta equal to 1, they will be 1, and for other H type indices alpha and beta may be values greater or lesser than 1. Now, the other publications of the researcher, therefore, will have no more than 8 citations. Now, H index is a solution of this kind of equation. R equal to CR, where CR is the number of citations of the rth publication. And therefore, this is the advantage of H index, that H index was introduced to measure simultaneously the quality and quantity of scientific output. And it is so popular because of its simplicity, and the indicators prior to H index were based chiefly on average. But H index is based on a relative distribution between citation and number of publications. Here lies the difference, and hence H index is not mere an average, but it is the solution of an equation involving two variables. And this is the rectangular hyperbolic equation of H index, and H index therefore, actually H index is the solution of a type of equation x into fx equal to constant. This is the equation. If we see citation article model, number of citation and number of publication model, then it shows this type of equation, x into fx equal to constant, which shows a rectangular hyperbolic curve. And therefore, H index graphically may be calculated from this type of rectangular hyperbolic. And this is how we can calculate H index. It is very simple. Here total citation 132, just a hypothetical case. Here H index is 6 because top 6 people received at least 6 citations each, and this yellow shaded zone is H core zone. And number of citations in H core, that is H core citation is 69. But as H index is 6, minimum number of citations required to keep the value of H index 6 is H square, that is 36. And hence, now hence here H core citation is 69 and minimum required citations to maintain the value of H index as 36. And this difference is called H core excess citation. And total citation, we have already seen the entire sum, that is 132. And hence, since total citation is 132, the total citation minus minimum required citation, it will be 96. It is overall excess citation or net excess citation. This is called E square, and its square root is called E index. That is, we have shown here. Here E square is 96, that is net excess citation. Therefore, E index is 9.8. Before going to other indices, we will point out another index, that is W index or U index. It is actually here also W index actually useful in case of subjects where citation accumulation rate is very high. For instance, bioscience or medical science like that. If all the papers of the scientist are ranked in descending order of the number of citations they receive, the W index is the highest number of papers one has that have each received at least 10 W or more citations. Now, here the papers on ranks W plus 1, W plus 2 have more than 10 into W plus 1 citations. Thus, the W index can be defined as follows. If W of a researcher's papers have at least 10 W citations each, and the other papers have fewer than 10 into W plus 1 citations, that researcher's W index is W. This also implies that one has not achieved the higher level at which W plus 1 of the papers have at least 10 W plus 1 citations each. For example, Stephen Hawking has a W index of 24, meaning 24 of his papers have been cited at least 240 times each. And at the same time, he does not have 25 papers cited at least 250 times each. With 41 papers cited at least 410 times each, Edward Wheaton of the Princeton Institute for Advanced Study has a W index of 41, much higher than Hawking's 20. So this is W index. It is actually H index may be very higher. Therefore, it actually it puts a ceiling over the H index. And this is E index, we have said. Next, using the H index, the citation information that can be accurately obtained is H square. That is, H square citations have been received and additional citations for papers in the H score are completely ignored. And therefore, E index is important here. The excess citations received by all paper in the H score divided by E square R, this is the equation. Actually, in H index, we are doing a severe mistake in H index calculation. That is, we are ignoring excess citations. But excess citations are citations. They are not first. Therefore, H index is an improper index. That is the point. And H index will be meaningful only if with H index together E index is also mentioned. So this is the equation. It shows the formula for E index. But Cj of the citations received by the jth paper and E square denotes the excess citations within the H score. Assuming D square equal to Cj, it is obtained that D square equal to E square plus H square. Now, E greater than or equal to 0 obviously is a real number, therefore E is root of d square minus h square. And it is shown from the above equation that the larger the E, the larger the net excess citation, and hence more severe of the loss of citation information when using the H index alone. In other words, when the H index is used to evaluate individual scientists, the smaller the index, the more reliable the H index is. And in an extreme case, when E will be zero, which is not possible in reality, but theoretically possible, the H index completely describes the citation information for papers in the H square. Otherwise, when E not equal to 0, the H index always loses citation information, which is complemented by the index. This H index always loses. And replacing the summation of equation 1 by integration, we can write this equation for E index, assuming for very large number of values. Actually, E is a continuous variable, and therefore, assuming the continuous variable, we may replace summation by integration. Now, an arbitrary point in EH plane receives the overall information of citations received by all papers in the H score. It is interesting to point out that the Euclidean distance between the origin and the point P is equal to this R equal to R root H square plus C square equal to D. And in our previous example, we found H6 E 9.8, therefore R equal to 11.5. Actually, R index is the square root of total number of citations. And there is another indicator, A index. Here, A index is 22.04. A index is H plus E square by H. And D square equal to, actually R square equal to A into H. The A index is introduced to present total citation in terms of H index. How total citation varies with H index. And A is the coefficient, it is the ratio between total citation and H index. And if this the value of A is constant, then the variation of R square versus H will be linear. Otherwise, it will be non-linear. So the relationship between H and E as expressed in equation 3 and 4 instantly depicts the plane we have to say, that is the HE plane. And this represents the overall citation information. And it is interesting to point out that the Euclidean distance between the origin and the point P is presented in equation 7. And now factors directly affecting the H index and H type indices, therefore we have seen, that is E, R and A index. And together they are known as H type indices. Now let us define some other parameters. Citation threshold. So it is the minimum number of citations received by the top 1% paper of a subject domain. Recitation, when a particular author or source is repeatedly cited so many times, but any other particular author or source. Intentional citation, that is recitation. And coercive citation, that is forced citation. It is an academic publishing practice in which an editor of a scholarly journal forces an author to add spurious citation to an article before the journal will agree to publish it. And this is done to inflate the journal's impact factor, to boost up the journal's reputation artificially. Another, let us say, another very empirical formula, which is calculated by year, the relation between total number of citation and H index. And it is found that H index is approximately equal to 0.54 times square root of citation. 0.54 times means approximately half. Hence, if we know the total number of citations of an author, then if we take its square root and half it, then we will get the value of H index. And this equation gives an accurate approximation in most cases, with errors within 10 to 20%. Actually, it is 12-13% in general cases. And according to this equation, if an author receives 100 citations, his H index will be nearly 5. If an author receives 1,000 citations, its H index will be 70. And if he receives 10,000 citations, his H index will be 54. Hence, for 10 times raise in number of citations, H multiplies nearly 3 times. Number of citations escalates 10 times, means H index escalates 3 times. Next indicator mapping we have already mentioned, these 4 indices together. And H is an index, this is the spanning of HE plane, and we can divide HE plane in this way, that is larger the E index, the larger the net excess citation and higher the loss of citation. The smaller the E index, the more reliable the H index. Hence, high citation loss, higher E index, unreliable H index. This is the high H, high E zone. Low H, high E, low H, low E, high H, low E. This is actually self-check in a subject domain. In which zone one scientist or one paper resides. That is the point. So high citation loss means high E index, H index will be unreliable, and low citation loss means low index, and H index will be reliable. And citation loss associated with excess citation, and citation fall is associated with low citation. There are several sites which calculate H index, that is Web of Science, Scopus, Publisher Paris, and Hartz suggested the typical value of H index should be at least 12 for an associate professor, and it would be at least 18 for a full professor. But there are several demerits of H index. Just let us mention some. This is a imaginary dialogue. Actually, as if Edward Witten, he had H index in 2020. Current H index is 192, and Hawking's current H index is 120. Now, as if Witten says Hawking, my H index is bigger than yours, but Hawking replies, but more people know who I am. That is the thing. Actually, what I want to say, H index is not the absolute measure of a scientist. It is one of them. And there are so many demerits. For instance, variation due to variation in type of publication, author name disambiguation, published pressure, disciplinary difference, manipulable through self-citation based on Google Scholar output, varies over databases, Scopus, Web of Science, ICI, Google Scholar, etc. And H index is an integer that minimizes its discriminatory power. So there are so many demerits of H index. And centrifugal nature of citation, which causes actually another major demerit in H index or other indicator. Actually, citation pattern follows preferential attachment process. That is, Matthew's effect is very prominent here. Therefore, due to the centrifugal nature, citation attracts citation, and it is a centrifugal nature. As already observed, H index ignores excess citation, and to overcome this, Leo A.K. suggested G index in 2006. And the calculation, this is the equation of G index, and G index does not average the number of citations, but it allows citations from higher cited papers to reinforce lower cited papers in meeting this threshold. And H index is normally higher than G index. Here, a comparison between H and G indices are given. And this is the G by H ratio. The lowest value is 1.15. That is, G by H ratio never becomes 1. 1 means G equal to H, but that is not seen practically. And this is the G index calculation, and it is the unique largest number so that the top G articles together received at least G square citation. Together is here. For instance, first paper received 23 citations, is larger than its rank 1 square. Next, 23 plus 16, larger than 2 square. And this cumulative citation, cumulative number. And after reaching here, 83 greater than 9 square, 9th ranked paper, and at the 10th paper, cumulative number is 87, but it less than 10 square. Hence here G index will be 9. The point. Hence G index is the unique largest number such that the top G articles together receive at least G square citation. And here lies the added advantage of G index over H index. But H index includes the individual number, not the summation. Now, let us show few other H-type indices. What we have seen in H or H-type indices, 3 fundamental variables are included there: citation count, publication count, and time. And we have already mentioned H-index is solution of this kind of equation. And there are some other equations also. What is this relationship between total number of citations in at the H index? Equation 12 and 12a. And this parameter B for successful scientists B equal to 1, for outstanding B equal to 12, for unique this B equal to 3. These are some empirical laws about empirical formula related to H index. Next, H alpha index. A scientist has H alpha index equal to H alpha, cap H alpha, if the top H alpha of his or her in publications from the ranked list have at least alpha into H alpha citations each. If alpha equal to 1, then H alpha will be equal to H index. H alpha has the following properties, where limit alpha tends to 0, H alpha equal to P, and limit alpha tends to infinity, H alpha will be C. That is, the P is the number of papers published by the scientists that have been cited at least once, and C is the number of citations of the most cited paper published by the scientists. These numbers can be called P indicator and C indicator. Actually, H alpha index differentiates between highly cited papers and large number of publications. Some authors receive very large number of citations, and some authors contribute very large number of papers but few number of citations. And H alpha index distinguishes between these two. Then normalized H index. H index divided by number of publications, that is normalized H index. Next, tapered H index. It is an extension of the H index introduced in order to account for the citations of all papers of a researcher, and not only for the H papers that are cited at least 8 times. Besides, the H papers cited at least 8 times, the other papers are considered in case of tapered H index, and this is its formula. And tapered H index is larger than the H index. So the papers which lie outside the zone of H, that is indicated by tapered H index. Then M index. This is the median number of citations received by the papers in the Hutch score. It focuses on the impact of publications with the highest citation count. Then time dependent H index also is there, where CR equal to CR by AR, where AR is the age of the RF paper from the ranked list. Next, M2 index. This is another indicator also. H type index. M2 equal to HI by 10 to the power alpha n beta. From the HN line, alpha and beta are found by regression analysis. And M2 index, H is the H index, N number of papers, and alpha and beta are constants. M2 index is constructed for comparison of the quality of research of institutions of different sizes. It is also a kind of, actually, H alpha index is a type of normalization of institution. And again, develop further an idea of Glanzel and Schubert about characteristic scores and scales. That is perfectionism index. And it was, the actual formula is introduced by Ledestoff Lloyd in 2014. Later, researcher has published P papers, received C citations. Now, the H index of the researcher separates his or her publications into two groups: the core publications and outside the core publications. And here, two quantities are defined, where C equal to CH minus H square. This quantity accounts for the eventual large number of citations. And CTC, this quantity penalizes researcher who wrote many papers but received few citations. This is the PIX formula where kappa lambda nu are real numbers. And another is extreme perfectionism index, equation 20. This is the still the more accurate PIX actually, that is EPIX. So these are PIX and EPIX values. And if a researcher has 65 publications with 1000 citations and H index equal to 25, then PIX 0. If a researcher has 65 publications with 1100 citations and H index 25, then PIX will be 100. This value changes over very small range. And if the researcher has 900 citations from same PNAs, then also PIX will be minus 100. And hence, if a researcher has PIX positive, then he or she is an influential scientist. If a researcher has PIX negative, then he or she is a mass producer. It is received few citations. Next, academic trace index. It is just a modification of our PIX. Next, P index. It was introduced by Gagan Pratap of NISCARE, CSIR. It is K square P to the power half, where case X is he introduced it as exergy in addition to energy. That is, exergy means citation energy. That P is the number of papers published by scientists and K equal to C by P is the ratio of the number of citations C of the P papers published by the scientists. The P index is defined on the basis of the indicator is as follows like this. P equal to K square P whole to the power 1. Now, normalization of H index and E index. We have said only one normalization of H index, but normalization of E index would also be normalized. And at this point, two other concepts are coming, that is citation centrifuging and citation scattering. What is it? Suppose, let us indicate this figure. We know that rectangular hyperbolic curve. This blue square, this is H course zone. This is the upper side of this blue square. This is upper H core or HXS zone. And the right side of the square, this is the tail zone. So highly cited papers reside here and low cited papers reside here. And in the upper H course zone, number of citations is large, but number of papers is less. And in lower H core or tail zone, number of papers is large, but number of citation is very less. And in the square zone, this is the H core. Only H core papers are here. Now, the E index actually indicates the excess citation. That is how citations are scattered beyond H core. And H index indicates citations within this zone. That is citation centrifuging. And so here we have developed two coefficients, citation scattering coefficient. That is epsilon square, epsilon, Greek alphabet. Epsilon square equal to E square by R square. That is the ratio of excess citation to total citation. That is excess citation to total citation means H core citation plus excess citation. E square by E square plus H square, or epsilon equal to 1 plus theta square whole to the power minus half. Minus half means to 1 by root actually. And where theta equal to H by E, taking positive root only. In previous also we took epsilon square equal to E square by R square. Epsilon will equal to E by R, we will take only positive root. And theta will be equal to H by E. Theta square equal to H square by E square, or theta equal to H by E. And here, boundary values of epsilon and theta are, so epsilon is here actually the ratio between E index to R index. And theta is the ratio between H index to E index. And in brief, for epsilon equal to 0, theta tends to infinity, and for epsilon equal to 1, theta tends to 0. And implying the range of theta as 0 less than theta less than infinity. Now for 0 less than equal to theta less than equal to 1 plus theta square equal to 1 plus theta square to the power minus half will be equal to 1 minus theta square by 2 by Maclaurin series approximation. This is shown here. If 1 plus theta square to the power half is if theta lies between 0 and 1, then the series it can be expanded as an infinite series like this. This is Maclaurin series derived from Taylor series, and therefore neglecting small quantities of higher order, eventually we find theta equal to whole root of 2 into 1 minus epsilon. And finally, differentiating both sides of equation 24 means this equation, relation between theta and epsilon. Differentiating both sides of equation 24, we get d theta d epsilon equal to minus r cube by h square for h index greater than e index, and equal to minus e by h for h index less than e index. And d theta d epsilon is citation swing factor. It is actually we have recently developed this indicator in our current DST sponsored project called Citometrics. And theoretically we have developed it, and we are still verifying it. And at an initial stage, we have found 10 to 12% error when comparing the practical cases. So here d theta d epsilon, the name given is the citation swing factor. This is because it measures the diffusion of cited item from H code to XS. Actually, it measures how theta influences epsilon. That is, how citation centrifuging is influenced by citation scattering and vice versa. In which zone citation force is higher? The citation force, whether statically confined in a zone or transferring to neighboring zone. And this is the function of citation swing. Actually, here in this diagram, the articles may reside in this H code zone. After receiving citation, they shift in this zone, and articles from tail zone shift here. Now, the rate of shift of citation or rate of diffusion of citation from core zone to this excess zone. This rate may be higher, may be lower, maybe the excess citation for some author excess citation may be very high, but H code citation becomes very low. For some author H code is high, but excess is very low. So higher excess citations means the citation pattern of that particular author or journal is scattered, whereas lower excess citation means H index is reliable. That is that authors or journals research or citation pattern is rather centrifugal or concentrated, less scattered. Hence, this is the function of citation swing factor, d theta d epsilon, to find out the diffusion of citation actually. And there are 4 zones depending on excess citation and tail citation. We can also just like previous, we can divide the research articles in this 4 zone. That is small h index means highly centrifugal. High h index means low citation fall. Zone 3 high citation fall and then low citation. Now the question is, what's about low cited papers? Now high citation, we have so long discussed on H index. H index here means good author, good journal. But then what's about low citation paper? Here, one word to say. High citation, yes. Citation has a basic characteristics of centrifuging. Citation brings citation. Citation influences citation. So, how citation, what is the image that's stimulated? How citation is influenced? That is the question. Now, it is the translation of Galileo's saying in Italian. That is, the nature of the human mind is such that unless it is stimulated by the images of things acting upon it from without, all sorry, all remembrance of them passes easily away. Now the question lies here: what is the image that stimulated? What was the influence? The paper which once fall in citation trap, it will naturally start to accumulate citation, but which remains outside the citation trap. That doesn't mean one can blindly reject that paper. That is the point. So many factors are there. And here is the very famous quote of Albert Einstein. As far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain. And as far as they are certain, they do not refer to reality. Hence, how to judge? Uncited paper means zero quality paper. How to judge uncited papers? This is the very big question in today's environment. And how to quantify quality also. So, according to Einstein, reality is uncertain, that is changing continuously. So, judging quality only by counting of impacts may yield uncertain or unpredictable results that may not match reality. That is the point. And at last, I must mention Milton's famous quote, "They also serve who only stand and wait." The last line of the poem on his blindness. Therefore, many good papers may remain uncited over years after years, even decades after decades. But does it necessarily mean that is a trash? Also, there are many very high citation classes, top cited papers, but failed to leave the deep impact on scientific community. So it is there. So uncited papers means trust. That is not the point. So this is, now here I have just categorized the metrics in three main classes. There are journal level metrics like impact factor, immediacy index, half-life, SJR and SNIP, source normalized impact factor and SJR ratio. Then author level metrics, citations per paper, H index, Z index, item index, E index, R index, W index, A index, and dot, 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 dot. So many still developing. And then article level metrics like citation mention, view, share, download, bookmark, impact, story, blog, score, etc. And eigenfactor score, this is the actually basic equation and site of eigenfactor score. Article influence score also. And lastly, alternative metrics. I'm just now, I'll finish here. Alternative metrics, actually it indicates how the articles, nowadays more and more articles are shared through social networking. More and more articles are tweeted, Insta or Facebook. And how they are viewed, how discussed, how saved, how cited, how recommended in the online network like academia or research gets, how they are circulated there. Those are accounted by alternatives. Those are not accounted by citation, but by alternatives. And today, Dimension is the only database which includes altmetric information also. This is the website of Altmetrics Manifesto. Here, these are some major altmetric tools, that is impact story. Actually, full altmetric need another hour or half an hour. So I just mentioned impact story, reader meter, science card, clause impact explorer, paper critic, crowdometer. These are some important altmetric tools. And a similar zone-wise analysis, four-zone analysis may be carried out by that. If we compare if we carry out a side-by-side comparison between citation versus altmetric score, it is frequently observed that many highly cited papers have low altmetric score. Also, many low cited papers are high altmetric. Actually, citation impact indicates impact, and altmetric score impacts feasibility. And here in first zone, high citation, high altmetric score. Only 1% paper resides in this area normally in any subject. And this means high impact paper plus high visibility. In second zone, high citation but low altmetric score. Here lies 2 to 3% papers. These papers need more circulation. This means high impact but low visibility paper. Low citation, high altmetric score, which needs more interaction. That is low impact but high visibility paper. And low citation, low altmetric score. Maximum paper resides in this zone, low impact, low visibility. But still, there may be some parts in this fourth zone also. So thank you. Let me finish it here.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening talk. Well, shall I go ahead? We have some questions, but due to the paucity of time, shall I go? I will just put it forward as a question. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, am I audible? Someone please confirm.
Yes.
Yeah, Rajarshi, you are audible.
Yes, yes, thank you, thank you. Well, see, sir, depending on the growth models and indicators and metrics you talked about, could the birth and eventual obsolescence of some subjects or line of thoughts be speculated?
Sound is disturbing. Please repeat.
Well, the question is, depending on the growth models and indicators and metrics you talked about, sir,
Yes.
the birth and eventual, say, obsolescence or death of some subjects, could that be speculated? Could that be speculated on the basis of the scheme of things that you talked about on metrics and scientific?
Yes, definitely. It can be speculated, and there are several laws related to it.
Okay, that's interesting.
It can be speculated.
Yeah.
Particularly following D solar price theory, it can be speculated. D solar price theory and also D solar price theory.
Solar price theory. Solar price theory. Okay. And another question, can you sir tell us something about the stylometry, the metrics which determine the stylistic pattern in writing, music, and also in the fine art, the stylometry?
Yes, stylometry. Actually, this subject is still developing, and it is very dynamic topic of research. Actually, stylometry, active research topic today. And stylometry, it is a particular subset of altmetric studies. Altmetrics is not stylometry. Altmetrics include social networking studies. And in altmetrics, for instance, I am saying, hello, am I audible?
This is depending on the social media.
Social media, just let me tell another thing.
Sorry?
For instance, let me tell another thing. Digital self-study. In the context of altmetrics also, self-study, SELF, self-study or digital self-analysis. It is becoming very important area today. And also, stylometry
Thank you, sir. I'm noting it down.
there also. That is.
Okay. And so, just corollary to this earlier question, the papers which are which are inherently well say not very much utility oriented, not utility oriented. The papers which is belong to social science or humanities, those are not very much taken up for citations and all due to its technical utility, etc. So these papers can be made them be visible or be benefited from the alternative metrics approach, right?
Acha, you please repeat once.
Yeah, so I am talking, considering the fact that dominant citations indicators that you are talking about are
Yes,
heavily
yes.
dependent on the utility of that particular paper in techno-financial paradigm of the society, right? So, is it possible to utilize altermetrics for the benefit of the papers which are inherently not utility-oriented?
Which is
I
inherently
mean,
not. Yes.
not utility oriented, you see, not technical in nature, theoretical, more of a theoretical kind. So if yes, the next question to it would be, how can those of us who practice our do our academic practices on that part of the C academic use altermetrics for our benefit of research paper in the social network and in the peer network, perhaps. So how can the altermetrics can be used by us? I mean, is there any ways to do that?
Yeah, altmetric can be one source is altmetric by going to altmetric.org or altmetric.com site. Also, another source is Dimension database. Dimension database is a very good source for altmetric score, and from that score,
Okay, thank you.
anyone from Dimension database from any individual article, you can get detailed information about views, sites, shares,
Okay.
Mendeley, etc. Actually, detailed information about alphabetic information. And also, dimension database is nowadays very good source. Also, some alphabetic information are also given in some articles of Scopus also, not always. But alphabetic.com, it is very good source. And another source, point to remember that the altmetric score is available only for the articles having DOI. But
Yes,
without
yes.
DOI, it will not
Hmm.
function. That is
Right,
the
right.
point.
Has to have its digital avatar of the research paper. That's true. I
Yes.
think that's all for the question and answer session. So it's over to Ananda or Amrita, perhaps.
If there are more questions, you can send me through email also.
Yeah.
I will
Thank you,
answer.
sir.
You can send it, you can share my email ID and WhatsApp number. I will answer either through email or WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, sir. It was an enriching session. We have now come to the fag end of day 2 of our workshop. I will now request Mr. Biru Rojo, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Asansol Girls College, Asansol, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, so Honorable Patron Mr. Malay Ghatak, GB President of both colleges, respected Chairperson Dr. Amitabh Basu, Principal BB College, Dr. Sandeep Kumar Ghatak, Vice Principal Asansol Girls College. Our advisory committee member Dr. Krishna Dey, Dr. Samuel Seth, and Mr. Krishna Ghosh, and our most valued participant. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Biru Rajak, on the behalf of Asansol College, CB and entire organizing team, my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our eminent speaker, Dr. Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay, Dr. B. Maharana, and Dr. Vidyati Datta for gracing us your important and deep knowledge for sharing with us in today's National E-Workshop on Citation Reference and Research Ethics. I would like to thank our organizing committee, Mr. Abhijit Chakravarti and Mr. Rajasi Das, for arranging such wonderful workshop on such an important topic related to research. I would also like to thank our technical team, Dr. Arnab Ganguly, Dr. Sudipto Das, Mr. Kajal Maji, Ms. Amrita Mitro, and Dr. Amlendu Samanto for conducting this webinar. Without the help of our technical team, this seminar is not possible. I would like to say a special vote of thanks to our both principal and vice principal, sir, for such an idea for collaboration and conducting webinar in a joint venture mode. In future, we are looking for more collaboration from both of colleges. Once again, I want to say thanks to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. And am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, Amrita,
Yes,
you
okay.
are.
An announcement for the participants. The feedback link will be shortly activated and it will remain active till midnight, the 16th of September 2020. Kindly fill it out carefully as the details will be utilized in preparing the e-certificates. Thank you for participating in this webinar. I will now request Dr. Amitabha Boshu, Principal, BB College, Asansol, to kindly declare the workshop closed.
Thank you very much to everyone. I'm uh, I'm really grateful and want to thank to our learned resource person for really illuminating sessions. And our I hope that all the participants they learn lot of things for their future research work. It is very essential workshop for their future research work and for their career advancement. And I once again want to thank all our research persons and the participants for attending this workshop. And it is really informative and illuminating workshop. And I want to say that formally close of this webinar, of this workshop. Thank you very much. Thank you to all.
Thank you, sir.